You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Well. Good morning, Jacksonville, and Eric Armstead up and early and making bold predictions. How about that?
7:23 a.m., bro. I was like, you know what?
Listen, I come up with a lot of random thoughts. I do. I come up with a lot of random thoughts. But this one was kind of like, okay. And somebody actually said this to me, and then I started thinking about it more. Maybe Brenton Strange stole the phone. Not to denounce the idea that Brenton Strange couldn't be very good this year, but I thought that was also a pretty decent possibility, because why the heck would Eric Armstead just randomly tweet this on a Thursday morning?
He walked into the facility and bro's getting the biggest workout of all time. He's like, you know what? This guy's jacked. Why not?
Is he? Did he owe him something? Was it a bet? Is he paying something off?
Huh. That's a wild thing to do at 7:23 in the morning. But, I mean, you love to see it, I guess. I don't know what it means. I don't think it means anything at all. But, I mean, okay, Eric Armstead. I see you. Also, Eric Armstead, maybe change your profile picture. This looks like the profile picture you would use if you made a fake profile as Eric Armstead, but it's actually Eric Armstead.
Oh, yeah.
Most people would put a real picture of them, not a staged Jags photo.
It's so funny, where your mind goes and mine. My mind did not go to that at all. I don't even think about that.
Who does that?
I don't know.
That'd be like if you used your headshot from actionnewsjax.com.
Is that what? Okay.
You wouldn't do that. Think about everybody ever. Your whole sports team, ain't nobody using their headshot. Everybody's using a picture of life.
Are they?
Yes.
Now you got me thinking. Hicks got his headshot.
I never count Hicken.
That doesn't count.
No. Not Hicken.
Let's see Stewart. Yeah, Stewart's got whatever. Oh, no, that's not that Stewart.
Sorry, Stewart. He forgot what you look like.
I put 2 R's in. Hey, no surprise. Stewart's got an Armada thing.
Okay. And then Marcel's got probably Marcel looking fly.
Yeah. He's got one. Yeah. The what's the background image called?
The background image.
Because when you
the
click
banner?
The banner.
Yeah.
That's different. But yeah, he does have Action Sports Jax, but he does what you would say look fly.
Liv's probably got Liv doing Liv activities.
I think Liv has her on, it's not a profile pic. It's definitely doing something on set.
And yours is what?
What is Brent's?
It's your kid.
Is it still my kids?
It was.
Yeah, still my kids. Probably should update that. That was from 2000 and...
That's been your Twitter picture as long as I've ever known you as a person.
Yeah, I guess I just don't think. That's my point, is I don't think about it.
But that's
anyway.
Exactly my point. Nobody's using their headshot as their Twitter profile picture.
Yeah, that's all except for Hicken and Armstead.
Hicken don't know. Hicken and Armstead probably have the same Twitter usability, to be completely honest with you.
Hey, are we not live on Twitter? Speaking of.
Really? Good. Twitter heard it. It's hey, you know what? We're upset.
Maybe. Hold on. Let me update. Let me check. Yeah, I don't think my Twitter's clicked, Rob.
Well, I see us on.
I see us on the Action Sports Jax one.
Hey, man, maybe promote the brand. Tweet 1,000 times from that one instead. You won't get crypto replies.
Yeah, maybe. But you had one job today.
I know.
To make sure we were clicked on everything. The same thing happened yesterday.
Really?
Same thing. Yeah.
Well, that was Kim. Don't blame me.
Well, though, but it's obviously a setting.
No, it's actually my fault.
Are we streaming on a Hamby also? Should I?
No, we're not. We don't need Hamby.
It's probably from yesterday.
I did it. I know what happened.
It's from the Young and Norvell show.
God forbid we have stuff going on around here. I take stuff off and then I forget to put it back on.
There you go. There we go. Some ownership. I like that accountability right there.
You know what? For this complaint, Young and Norvell show will be on Brent's Twitter for further notice. If you're looking for Terry Norvell and Patrick Young, find it on Brent AS Jax.
There you go. You might that might be helpful. So do you agree with can Brenton Strange have a big year?
Top 5 is It's pretty hefty. When you think about top 5 tight ends in the sport, you're talking Travis Kelce. You're talking George Kittle.
Yeah, like I'm not putting that on. I wouldn't put that on Brenton Strange.
No, that's a lot.
I mean, I'm asking him to like have half the production that Evan Ingram had.
Yeah, I told you a couple weeks ago, like if you're in the 6 category, I think we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, we did
60,
the 6s.
600, 6 touchdowns.
We were dancing with the devil in that conversation.
Yeah, that was sketch, and I'm bringing it back up. I mean, I think that's where you need to be, and as you've talked about many a time, like, is there enough football to go around for him to be a top 5 tight end? Like, why has Travis Kelce been so damn good? There's been plenty of football going his direction because they refuse to get receivers. George Kittle has found a way, even with a lot of options there. Brock Bowers was the only option in Las Vegas last year and had a monster year. So I don't know if there's enough football for him to be a top 5 tight end, but if he, for some reason, was a top 5 tight end, you'd have to think they're winning a lot of football games.
So here's your top 5 receiving yards last year. Bowers, McBride, Kittle, all over 1,000. Jonnu Smith, surprisingly, had 884.
Yeah, but that's a one-off.
Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta. Laporta actually went down a bit, right? I mean, they definitely didn't. They had a lot more weapons, too, and they didn't use that. Maybe he's in a little bit more of a sweet spot if you think you have a lot of weapons and you want to be that kind of offense and you're going to run the football too. That Laporta. Now, the thing about Brenton Strange where he can pick up and help out is on the blocking end. A lot of these guys don't do that well, and he can. So from an inside football standpoint, while everybody else looks at fantasy numbers, I think a lot of football people will look at, hey, this dude is top 3, 4, potentially in a multifaceted tight end, your throwback tight end, if you will.
Right.
You just don't get a lot of that anymore. So I think the other big one here is touchdowns. Like
McBride only had 1, right? Or did he score a second one?
He had 2, yeah.
2.
He had 2. But like 5 for Bowers was it. Yeah. 8 for Kittle, 8 for Jonnu Smith. Like that's a really good number for a tight end. Laporta and Kraft had 7. And then Mark Andrews had 11. So Andrews had a year where, again, that was 9th because of only 670 yards, 55 catches, but boom.
They all came at the end, I feel like, because he was not good early.
So I think that's the number. Like I have no idea. Do I think he's going to be a top 5 tight end from a receiving standpoint? Absolutely not. Like he can't.
No.
There was just not enough football to go around. But if he does have 50-plus catches and he does have 600-700 yards, that's attainable. Because he's going to be, I think, highlighted in that tight end room. I think there's a big difference between him and how everybody else is going to be used, I would assume. Kind of like Evan in that sense. And so I think the touchdowns are the ones that put him over the top. And then once you have touchdowns, you can bring the blocking stuff in.
Yeah.
Fantasy football-wise, he won't be a top 5 tight end. But I think along the league circles, you could be, hey, this guy's creeping in because he does this really well too. That would be more of an NFL conversation than an outside conversation.
For sure. Listen, everything's built around fantasy, and not obviously for the Jags, but for where people come up with rankings more times than not. So how relevant will he be there is a good question for like fans and everybody going forward. But he may end up being their touchdown guy, Brent. You could see a scenario where, I mean, the tight end gets a lot of looks, you would think, on the goal line. If they can get down there and they can figure out how to score, which they have not been able to do the last couple of years, maybe Brenton Strange is the guy that doesn't have as many yards or catches as you'd like, but maybe he pops up for like 10 touchdowns.
That'd be cool. I'd take that.
Yeah, I would take that as well.
The other big story floating around over the last day is where's Jalen Ramsey going? Speaking of Twitter, is there something happening there? Is there anything new this morning on the Jalen Ramsey front?
I didn't see anything new this morning, but wild situation. Like, I think it's funny because like I saw some people on Jags Twitter like, "Oh, welcome home" and this and that.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
And it's like, you remember how mad these people were at Jalen Ramsey?
I think people would welcome Jalen Ramsey and no problem.
I would too. I'm just saying. I think it's funny how that like time heals, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think this about Jalen Ramsey. People know how good of a player he is.
Definitely.
Now, do the Jags need Jalen Ramsey at this point?
Definitely. Without question, they do.
Where, like, just that, and you just don't, just the opposite corner of Tyson.
Yes. Yeah, because again, I don't think you can sit here and say Tyson Campbell's going to play a full season. There's no evidence that that's going to be the case. And if you don't have Tyson Campbell, you're in this disaster. I'm going to call it a disaster scenario again. And if you have Jalen Ramsey, you go, well, we still got a dude. And then just imagine for some reason Tyson Campbell does play more games than not. Then you got both of them. Like, I would say need. They need Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. I don't know. It can't hurt, obviously. It's such a Band-Aid, it feels like to me. It's a probably a 2-year type of thing at a high price, which means you're paying your corner room and a tremendous amount of money. And I feel like at sometimes organizations are in a point in their process or their growth or whatever else that you've got to find out what you have in people. And so we're going to find out anyway. Mm-hmm. But Jarian Jones is a guy that if you're willing to move him outside, how do you feel about his growth, right? And stunting his growth. And could he be good? Like, how promising is he of a prospect at that outside corner position?
Sure.
I don't know that answer. I mean, I can get excited about Jarian Jones. I like him. But I also have major question marks about that other cornerback spot. But my point being, Ramsey's a guy that I feel like you add in this scenario if you feel like you're that 1 or 2 player away from going to a Super Bowl. The Jags are not there. I mean, Jags trying to get back to the playoffs. Forget about Super Bowl. Like, that is not even in the vocabulary right now for this season. Now, there's not a person that would put that out there in that building. Now, can you believe it? Should you believe it? Absolutely. I hope you do. But that's not realistic. That would be something crazy and special. Let's just be honest. I mean, I don't know what their odds to win the Super Bowl are, but it's probably pretty damn high. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like, again, at some point, you've got to figure out what you have in guys, and the only way to do that is to let them play. Sure, Jalen Ramsey, way better option than Jarian Jones.
Yeah.
But is he a realistic option for the next 3, 4, 5 years? Jarian Jones is that if he plays well. Mm-hmm. And the only way to find out is to let him play.
I think it's an interesting point, but I think you could, and I think fans would potentially go this route and say, we've seen the let them play route the last couple of years when they couldn't win a football game. Like, I think we're past that. And you said if you're 1 or 2 wins away from winning a Super Bowl like Jalen Ramsey makes sense. How many games do you think they win this year without Jalen Ramsey?
I've got them at 8 or 9.
So if Jalen Ramsey may be worth 1.5 to 2 wins, now you're talking about 10, 11 wins, if that's where you think that could be. And going back to the chart yesterday, if you win that many games, you're pretty much a shoo-in to go to the playoffs. So, like, I get it. You invest, well, first off, this regime didn't invest in Jarian Jones. He's just somebody who's on the team. And you've got all these guys you inherited. That's fine. Call me crazy. I think they're trying to win. And if you're trying to win, you bring in good players when you can get them. And if you can get a Jalen Ramsey, he's a good player if he wants to be here. I understand Jag Martin said it could hurt in the locker room. Like, it could. I don't know where we are at that point in the Jalen Ramsey career, but I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, so here's the deal. The locker room doesn't concern me on Jalen.
Agreed.
Not at all. Like, doesn't. I think a couple of things going on. One, I think the locker room's in a pretty good spot. I think they need a little bit more Jalen still, and I know they're getting some of that. I think they need some of that. I think that's Jordan Lewis pickup. I think that is a Jarian Jones. Only do that if you play. So I think you need some of that kind of play with the swag attitude. Travis Hunter brings that in a different light on the offensive side, we think. So they could use a little bit more of that, and that's okay, and still not go over the top on it. And I think Jalen, by the way, is a much more mature player than he was years ago in Jacksonville. So there is that part. So I'm fine with the fit. The fit there wouldn't be an issue. I think it is interesting from Campanile and his familiarity to the Rams and their familiarity with Gladstone, and even Cohen for that matter when he was there. There's familiarity with Ramsey. And some of those traits that got him to the Rams, the same people now, especially a Gladstone, and some of the other folks he's starting to bring in, probably see him fit a certain way. And Campanile, anybody. You can fit Ramsey in any defense. Yep. So I do think those connections are kind of fascinating. I want to preface this. I don't think this is happening at all. Like I don't, when he says what he said on Twitter, which was basically, let me find it, because it was kind of Yannick cryptic in a way.
Yes.
It was like he was trying to get out in front of the story.
That's Jalen.
And
known good guy.
So he said, all right, where did he say it?
Maybe he deleted it.
For the record, by the way, I've loved every city I've played in. The fans who supported the anger, The anger is very misplaced at times, but sometimes valid too. Laughing emoji. But real ones know the intention's always solid. A new chapter awaits. Mm-hmm. So obviously he thinks something's happening. And then he also said, I'm grateful for each and every chapter so far. Every part brought me to a greater version of myself, regardless of how things ended. The journey has been love. God is the greatest.
There it is. Regardless of how things ended. Yeah, reopen the chapter.
I think it's hilarious how social media goes all the way to got to be the Jags or got to be the Rams. He could just be saying, it's all good everywhere I've been.
Yeah.
And he ends up in Pittsburgh.
That's fair.
Like, I just don't understand why people have, regardless of how things ended was the quote, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's just making amends with everything. Onto his next stop. Like, and this is really a way to button up his Miami days.
Could be. Or.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I think it's really interesting. Do you think they could be better than Houston if they bring in Jalen Ramsey?
I think if you bring in Ramsey, to me, to your point, you bring up a good point. Like, how many games is he worth? How many games is a player like that worth? And I also think, where is Jalen now? Jalen's paid as a top 5 guy. Is he still a top 5 guy? He's been in the league for a decade almost. Now, I still think he is a top guy. But, yeah, I would think he brings such a reputation and everything. I think Houston has them in the secondary right now. That's where their edge is on the Jags. Yeah, he would close that gap and maybe seal that gap for me.
What are you doing?
But again, the Jags are, I hate to say this, it just doesn't feel like they're chasing a Super Bowl right now.
You don't have to chase a Super Bowl, but if you can go from 7-8 to closer to 10, or maybe at 10 wins, like, gotta try. I just feel like it's low risk. I know it's going to cost some money, and that is what it is, but like, clearly they're not afraid to spend money's not the right word, but they're not afraid to waste money to get the players they want or do not want on or off their roster. So,
right now the Jags have $26 million in cap space.
Perfect.
So they've got money to
bring them in,
be able to do it. Hamby's Burner says, who else could that be about other than Jacksonville? Meaning the tweet. Did he have problems in L.A. after the ring? I don't think so. I honestly don't know who he's talking about. Could he be talking about Jacksonville? Yeah. Could he be talking about the Rams? Maybe. Could he be talking about the Dolphins? Absolutely. Like, he could be. Yeah. But I also don't think I feel like you could be in a place where it doesn't mean you're going back to that place. You're just buttoning up things in May because you're bored and taking to social media.
He may be bored.
And where's the news? Like, if he's already gone and going to a place, so why is he 18 hours ahead of it and nobody else is on it yet?
Slow rolling.
Usually the player is not a full day ahead of the news.
Gladstone's like, slow down, man. Slow down.
But I will say this, and the Jags put out their, I think the hunt comes out tonight. Is that true?
I don't know.
Because they put a little snackable piece out on that.
Was Jalen
and it was the whole Travis Hunter thing.
Okay.
And what I do think the Jaguars did by getting Hunter, and they totally did it like they were on our show. Follow me here. They weren't on our show, but where we just say, hey, what if we just made a call to the Cleveland Browns and tried to get the guy that we think is the best player in the draft? And that's basically what they did. Like, they didn't do it back in February. They didn't do it in March. They did it like 2 weeks before the draft, said, sounds like a good idea. Let's pick up the phone.
Could work.
It could work. Because and what I was thinking
It's like
about
an infomercial.
What I was thinking about when I saw that, and I was like, I wonder if they scooped a lot of the league in a sense, where a lot of people are sitting there and they're like, well, this dude's the best player in the draft.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
And they're not going to even listen, right? So I'm not even picking up the phone. I mean, this doesn't feel like a realistic call. And I'm sure there are GMs around the league. Heck, it could be Philadelphia, right? I was like, because they're aggressive a lot. Or the Rams, who are aggressive a lot. And you said, yeah, I'm not even making the call. But the Jags actually picked up the phone. And if other people had picked up the phone, they would have listened. So that got me thinking to the point of when you bring up names like this, where this used to be a very Brent and Austen show or sports radio, social media kind of topic. Hey, let's get everybody talking. And what the hell, because it's worth exploring.
Yeah.
We all say it. Ain't our jobs. Ain't our money. But I think what these guys now, I think you have to at least stop and acknowledge is they're willing to make the phone call and ask. And they're not going to shy away from that. Now, how many times are they going to do that? And where are they on Jalen Ramsey and all the rest? I mean, but maybe when it comes to Hendrickson, I think it might have been Coach Rip who brought in, I'd rather have a Hendrickson. Like, okay, well, now I feel like Gladstone, Cohen, Campanile, Baselli, Shad Khan, they're at least willing to make the phone call, where honestly I didn't think a guy like Bulky was making that call.
I agree with that.
So now is it going to work? Is it always going to work out in your favor? Absolutely not. Does it make sense all the time? No. But worth the phone call, and now if you're interested, and you got to be careful of that too, because you don't want too much out there.
Yeah.
So how you hide it. But they also did a tremendous job of that. They hid that very well with Cleveland for a couple of weeks until it finally started to surface on the day of the draft. So, yeah, this is it's fascinating that if you, the fan, are interested in it, I think you can now make the parallel that they might be too.
Yeah.
At least interested in it.
Yeah, and I think, at least with Jalen, not with Hendrickson, but definitely with Jalen, and you mentioned it, with the Rams, former Rams brass, with the coaching that has been with Jalen recently, I think you could certainly make the argument that if they want and or get Jalen Ramsey, they feel extremely confident they know exactly where he is at this point in his career. Because they've been around it so recently that you probably feel like you know what he has left and what he can do. So I think if they go and get him and make a move like that, you would have to think they would feel more strongly or have a better feel than like Pittsburgh, where like you don't have people in place that were just with Jalen. So I think that's a big thing to where if they do get him, I think you should feel extremely confident that he's going to play well. If you trust Gladstone and you trust everything that he's done so far, and if they don't get him, I think that, or if he moves and they don't get him, and if they were interested in all that, that might tell you where he is on the field wise.
About Ripley clarifies a little bit. My thought was it Ramsey that moves the needle, or is it Hendrickson, meaning who equals more wins? That's a good question because, like, what's going on with Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker if Hendrickson's here? Where are they? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Versus, okay, you know what it looks like with a Jalen Ramsey. I mean, he's out there every snap.
Well, I think it's Jalen. In my opinion, just because I think Jalen gives you so many options in a spot that you don't have options if somebody gets hurt. Like at least with Josh and Trayvon in that position group, like you don't want either of them to get hurt, but you feel good about the other one. In corner, if Tyson gets hurt, how many times do we have to see this movie play out where it's not good if Tyson is not healthy? If you bring in Jalen, you mentioned Jarian Jones, like you've got him, that's fine. But if you don't, you're back to what? Forcing Travis Hunter to get in there, maybe? Like, I just think Jalen is safer, I guess, in my opinion.
You know, it's really interesting. One of the questions I have today is just how marketable right now are the Jacksonville Jaguars. And is this the most marketable they've really ever been? Because, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter right now is at the top of the table. I mean, he is quickly becoming if not already, the face of the franchise. Now, some of that's still draft buzz. I have a hard time doing that, even as big as this guy is, where I just clicked on something and him getting off the plane was 2.4 million views. Like, I get it, but I haven't seen him play. So I haven't seen him play, and I have no idea the impact he's going to make in the NFL yet. I have a real hard time just jumping him to the front. But we also did that with Trevor. Quarterback makes more sense. But the bottom line is right now, Travis Hunter, he sold more jerseys over the pond than anybody else. He's
there you go.
Obviously one of the faces of the NFL. People are talking about it. Every time they practice, we get calls to, hey, we want some Travis. We want some Travis. He is big, and we know that. And he's right now the face of the franchise. But Trevor Lawrence is big too, and that hasn't stopped. Like around the country, they're asking, is this going to be the year for Trevor? They're also asking, is this a make or break year for Trevor? They're talking about Trevor. And also, by the way, they talk about Brian Thomas Jr. a lot around the country. I wasn't here pre-2008. And when you talk about pre-2008, you bring up two probably likely scenarios that would join this conversation. I would say 1999, Brunell, Smith, McCardell, Fred Taylor, obviously that group. And I really think even after that in the mid-2000s when like Mojo came on board, the Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew backfield, I think would be a part of this. I don't think even in 2017, Saxonville was a cool brand, and it was talked about, but I don't think like you had these guys. Jalen was kind of the guy. Calais Campbell was the guy, but you didn't have this kind of star power.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really think right now the Jags are as marketable as they've ever been, and that's probably debatable. If I was here in 1999, I could have a better sense of that. But I would say probably at least since 1999 when they were one of the best teams in the league and they did have star power at all those positions and offensively, which that matters.
Mm-hmm.
But add what I just said to, I already think Josh Hines-Allen and even a Trayvon Walker have star potential.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Jalen Ramsey, who already is a star, to that lineup. And it's like, wow. I mean, people are going to talk about the Jags.
Yeah.
If you were to add that. See, Trey Hendrickson doesn't do that. Hendrickson's under the radar. I think he's the most underrated player in the league.
Fair.
And to get like a Ramsey in that mix, I mean, it's crazy. Isn't it crazy how marketable right now the Jacksonville Jaguars are? That is not something that usually happens here in Northeast Florida.
I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. But what's wild about it is you're marketable because of how bad you suck to get these people. You picked Travis Hunter second. You picked Trevor Lawrence first. You picked Trayvon Walker first. You picked Josh Hines-Allen seventh, right?
He was 7, yeah.
Seventh. If you bring Jalen back, you picked him fourth or fifth, whatever that was. So, like, in a way, you got what you paid for, because that's the goal, right? When you draft people in the top 5, they become these players that people want to talk about.
Yeah.
So, like, in a backwards way, they're finally paying that off, where, like, when you drafted Dante Fowler, that didn't happen. When you drafted all of your other highly drafted picks when they were bad, that didn't work. So it feels like that you might finally be getting that media payoff of those picks. Now they need to perform, and I think everything that is being talked about is valid. Like, can Travis Hunter do it on both sides of the field, or is he really good at one? Like, yet to see. Is this a make or break year for Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, it kind of is. Trayvon Walker, is he going to get a contract extension and be worthy, if you will, of the number 1 overall pick? Like, all those things are fair conversation. And the one that sort of flies under the radar, and maybe the best of all of them, is Brian Thomas Jr., who's just like, I'm quietly here catching passes and touchdowns. Like, you guys can talk about all them. You can talk about me if you want. I'm not going to talk about me.
People do talk about him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think we acknowledge that even enough, how much people talk about Brian Thomas Jr. Like, he's an under-the-radar personality. He's not an under-the-radar player. Like, every ranking has him in it.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're not dismissing him, is my point. In years past, we've had to argue and fight for guys that we thought, hey, what about this guy? Like, we couldn't even get Josh Hines-Allen with 17.5 sacks in the Defensive Player of the Year.
That's right.
Calais Campbell was in the Defensive Player of the Year. Should have won it, in my opinion, but couldn't win it, right? Like, you usually have to really defend and you know, go to the line for these guys in Jacksonville. You don't have to do that right now. Now, you might have to defend Trevor. Trevor's is in a different spot. You're going to get half the population that thinks, hey, here, wait till you see him this year. You're going to get the other ones like, all right, what the hell? It's time. Let's go.
I think the Trevor thing is wild. Like, as you just mentioned, like, people are so split on it. Like, did you see the tweet? It was either yesterday and somebody put out like not like a national person, just like a person.
I think it was like the half and half one, two different photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy because those are the same, like, you've both seen the same thing and people can totally have completely opposite opinions.
Yeah.
It's wild.
He is that.
It's crazy.
He is that. But with that also becomes talking points.
True.
With that becomes fodder. With that becomes debate. And with that becomes branding, marketability, all those other things. Like, people are talking about him.
Yeah.
And again, I agree with you to a set. Like, okay, they've created this. Well, it's taken a long time to create this kind of buzz. So they've finally picked some of the right guys to at least put them in position to have these conversations where we think they could be really good.
Yeah.
Or they already are good in a Brian Thomas Jr. situation, and a wow, can't wait to see it in Travis Hunter situation. So they were bold enough to make some of those moves. And by the way, Brian Thomas Jr. was somewhat of a bold move too. You didn't have to do that. Now, it's not as bold, but this organization that GM had not gone wide receiver in like forever in the first round. So it was somewhat, I think, under the radar of a bold move for this organization.
Definitely.
And then they backed it up with the Travis Hunter move as well. And while you think about the marketable teams, Kansas City comes to mind, obviously, because they're good. Buffalo right now because they're good. But you always have an element in sports of the team, do we know if they're good? The Giants are going to fit that category with Jackson Dart now, and they've got Malik Neighbors, and they've got some star potential. Other teams will do this as well. But I think being in that spot is kind of okay going into the year. Now, the flip side of that is, damn, if they are good. Like, if they can turn it into, hey, we're winning the division, and Trevor does perform well, and Travis Hunter is really good, and Brian Thomas Jr. backs it up, I mean, that's, I think, a little bit way too early to predict that.
Sure.
But it is cool to think about it. And sometimes we don't allow us to here in Jacksonville because it's been so bad.
Well, I mean, there's the double side of that, too, because, like, right now it's fine. Everything's fine and good. But if they're not good, like you just said, if they are good, it'll be great. And all this stuff that was talked about in the offseason, if they're not good and it doesn't start well, all that's gone. Outside of, I think, Brian Thomas Jr., who feels like that's going to be, like, he's just going to be good no matter what. I think he kind of showed you that last year in a bad situation. He was still going to be good. So, like, it's cool now, but, like, you gotta at least give people the reason to continue talking about you, which has unfortunately been the problem. Yeah,
and again, so the Jalen Ramsey stuff, I don't know what's going to happen with.
Bring him in.
I don't interpret that as, hey, he might come back to Jacksonville. I really don't. Not a thought in my mind. And then I started seeing everybody say, I was like, what in the world? You guys don't. I do think this.
Bring him back. The back is healed.
I have said this for a long time. Jags, to me, he's one of my favorite players I've ever covered in the league and in my career. And it was only for a short time, but he keeps you on your toes, you know? And so I always liked the whole thing about Jalen. Also, you knew he was a damn good player. Like, he was instantaneously, in my opinion, the best player to wear a Jags jersey. With all due respect to everybody else that had been here, I think he was the most talented guy that had put on a Jags jersey. And I don't think I was wrong on that. Like, you're a practice or two in or a game or two in, and this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. Well, guess what? He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Right? I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how you define corner Hall of Famers, but he's like all pro. I mean, he's got all the stuff.
Yeah.
He's not a defensive player of the year.
No.
But not too many come from the corner position on that.
Yeah. Probably need some interceptions.
Probably could use some, but I feel like he's a Hall of Famer. And he's been one of the best in the league for a decade.
No doubt.
That usually proves the point.
At least somebody loves you.
Brent is the greatest, most electric player the Jags have ever had. And that's That's fair. Listen, I'm a little biased since 2008. I haven't seen all that, right? So I think Fred was terrific, and it's not. I don't have to be right here to see all that. I mean, I could see it from the jump how good Jalen Ramsey was. So bottom line is, I don't mind him if he. It would be great to have him come back. He's a really good football player. You never have enough of him. I also don't think the fans would mind it. I think there are fans that say, "I don't want him back. I don't want him back." Like they hold grudges. They wouldn't hold a grudge. They'd be buying that jersey up in a heartbeat, man. They would have loved to see Jalen Ramsey in a Jags uniform.
Do you, and the way you felt about Jalen when you saw him for the first little bit, do you anticipate feeling that way about Travis Hunter? Like, I know you probably didn't expect when you went to watch Jalen Ramsey, like, to feel that way after you watched a couple of games or training camp, whatever you said.
That's a good question.
But do you somewhat expect to feel that way after you watch Travis Hunter?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And the reason why is because he just doesn't look like a physical specimen.
That's fair.
And Ramsey did.
Yeah.
Like, Ramsey's got, he just had everything. Like, you could see it. Again, I am not a football scout. You didn't have to be. You were like, the length that he had, the shoulders that he's got to be able to tackle, play physical. The question that he had coming out was the ball skills. And that was quickly whatever. He had one pick, I think, in college. But that was mostly because they didn't throw at him, I think.
Sure.
But he just had, you could tell right away. The only other guy I've done that with pretty quick was Justin Blackman. And you're like, whoa, that looks good. That looks really good. And so to me, I've only done that a couple of times. Now, listen, Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines-Allen go out there. Every time they go out there, I'm like, my goodness. These guys are massive human beings, and I feel like they get bigger all the time.
Right.
Like Derrick Henry, I used to do that with too. So you have some of these moments in a sport that has a lot of that anyway. Like these guys are all good and gifted, but Jalen was easy. I don't know. Like when we watched the video yesterday of Travis Hunter, and he's the bend that he has and the fluidity, I guess you would say, that doesn't pop as much to me. I can see it, but I'm not like, oh my gosh. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's different from Cooper Kupp to
sure
Tyreek Hill. I don't look at that as much. I don't feel like that. And I will say we've seen better players come around in Jacksonville than I had. Like from 2008 to 2016, when I was here and when Jalen got here, hadn't seen a lot of great players. Like,
like
think
somebody
about that, right? Like you really hadn't seen that pop. So Coach says, Coach Ripley, Justin Blackman had a chance. That game he had 200. First time I thought Gabbert would make it. Gabbert's an interesting one from the practice field because the guy could rip it down the seam. And you're like, whoa, something to get excited about. Like that seam pass that Gabbert threw in practice was memorable. Memorable more than any throw
that's wild.
Memorable than any throw that I can remember other quarterbacks making in Jacksonville. Now,
I thought you were going to say any throw he made in the game. And I was like,
well, that's probably true too. He never played that. He was too scared to make that throw in the game. But like Trevor makes throws, and you're like,
yes,
it's pretty cool. Like he makes throws in games where I don't think people appreciate it enough.
The throw to Brian Thomas Jr. against Miami.
He makes throws that he makes them look easy that I don't think are easy. And I think that's why people still really are on Trevor, is because he makes some of the hard stuff look pretty damn easy.
Yeah, the wild part about Trevor is like if Trevor doesn't end up as like a top 5 quarterback in the league, I think it's always going to be confusing. Because the one thing about Trevor that like there's no doubt about is like bro is unbelievably talented.
Yeah.
So like that's the part where I think people are just like, why?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things like why are you not all the way? And there's a lot of factors there, and
there's a lot in there. There's a lot in that answer.
Yeah, but it's like I don't think anyone's ever argued that the talent level of Trevor Lawrence, like clearly, extremely talented.
Yeah, you mentioned the long pass to BTJ. Hamby's burner bringing up the game to BTJ still makes no sense on Ramsey. Is he talking about the long one on the PI?
Touchdown.
The touchdown, because the touchdown was sick. The one on the PI was actually a bit too late.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the touchdown.
But the touchdown to against Rams.
Yes.
Yeah, the back of the end zone.
Yeah,
and that was, by the way, on a 3rd down and I think like 12 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah. The throw was unreal. And then the fact that Brian Thomas Jr. in his first game knew what was what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like he ended up it's just.
That was a good play. Boy, you forget about that play.
They
played so well in that first half.
Boy, I tell you what.
Super
Bowl or bust in that first half.
It's one of the best halves of football. Oof. I mean, outside of the Chargers game. But that's really good in recent memory that nobody will remember.
No, totally forgot.
Nobody remembers how good that first half was. The Jags came out of the gates really strong to the season.
Totally forgotten.
And then obviously the fumble late in the third. I mean, they don't fumble in the third quarter. They win that game by 2 touchdowns. And everybody knows it. Even the Dolphins know it. Be actually interested to get Ogbah's point of view on that game.
And if they win that game, maybe they don't have enough ammunition to get Travis Hunter. So who knows?
Wow, there's a lot that goes into that. That's a good point, huh? Funny how you get here.
It is.
And you can make it make sense and okay. All right, let's. How about we get to a break? 40 minutes in, we come back. Emmanuel Ogbah, we will hear from him. I kind of promised that yesterday. We didn't get to it. We're just yapping too much. So we'll do that. Somebody asked about, and it's a very good point. If we don't get to it today, we could tomorrow. Matthew Driscoll and UNF. We did the whole show, so I kind of feel like we've done it because I've talked a lot about it. And we showed the whole news conference, but we really haven't talked about that whole situation with Matthew Driscoll leaving UNF
Coach Driscoll
after the holiday weekend and everything else. So maybe we'll have a thought or two on that, or if not, again, we've got a whole nother show tomorrow. I don't think there's time sensitivity.
We do have a show tomorrow.
On that one. Yeah, you're going to be here. We'll be here when we get back. Brent and Austen show with Casey Kurtz. Rob in the booth.
He just drags me.
You getting a check? You work here.
I better get a bonus. It's been a lot of work this month.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
The schedules are out for another summer of soccer here in Jacksonville with the Armada men's and women's under-23 squads, starting with the ladies and the home opener on May 24th. 2 weeks later, they're back in Northeast Florida for a June 7th matchup. The season wraps up with a pair of Friday night home matches June 20th and the 27th. As for the boys in blue, they debut against a couple league newcomers on May 9th and 17th respectively, with more home dates on May 31st, June 14th, and June 21st. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Kinetico reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
It's fast-paced,
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
high fly,
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
action-packed, weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
That's old Chuck Woods right there.
That's foul. Don't call him Chuck.
I was Charlie. I'd like to be called Chuck.
What is this?
So Charlie Woods, he's getting bigger.
I was just going to say that.
This was down at Stream Song, AJGA event, and it's really the first. No, we show a missed putt, but it was.
I was like, you put a miss in here?
Whatever they gave us, but
Okay.
he actually played excellent. He shot a 66 and won going away a big tailor-made event at Stream Song. He was 14th after the first round, and then had a crazy good weekend or last 2 days. Beat Miles Russell. I think people know that name. Miles Russell finished 7th, and Philip Dunham from Ponte Vedra Beach. Miles, by the way, is from Jacksonville. Philip Dunham from Ponte Vedra Beach finished 2nd. So it was a big win for Charlie Woods, who's been he's good, but there's been no sign of greatness from him.
Well,
This was a breakout for him.
yeah.
To be able to play this well and win amongst some of the best juniors in the game.
Hold on, keep this rolling, Rob, just for one more second, because I got to. Is this a grown man coming in the shot right here? Or is this another child? Not him. This guy.
Yeah, big dude, huh?
Is this a grown man or a kid? Because if it's a grown man, then Charlie's beating grown men. And if it's a kid, we need him at left tackle ASAP. Quit golf, left tackle.
Well, what's crazy about this is that kid, then you look at Miles Russell, who weighs about 125 pounds, and he is the best junior golfer in the world.
Yeah.
The best junior golfer in the world lives in Jacksonville. Why don't we talk about these stories more? Is that amazing?
Yeah, that's true.
I do talk about it quite a bit, but is that? I always say this about Jacksonville. It fascinates me. If we had the best junior anything in the world in Rhode Island, where I grew up,
big deal.
It's like a parade every day.
That's awesome.
If we have Derrick Henry, parade every day.
Okay.
If we have Tim Tebow, if we have John Wolford, we're probably doing documentaries on every day in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how another guy. Kyson Witherspoon, top 10 pick in the MLB draft coming up this summer. I bet most of you folks don't
He's
even
from
know the
Jacksonville?
name. Went to Fletcher.
The Oklahoma kid?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's got his twin brother, Malachi, probably also get drafted.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I bet people don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I do, but yeah.
And it's like, it always amazes me. So as a guy who grew up in Rhode Island, like when we would have a local, it would be such a big deal. Like
Sure.
we had adopted local people like Billy Andrade in golf, who lived half the year in Rhode Island, half the year in Atlanta. He wasn't really from there. And so it was like, Billy Andrade, go, baby. I mean, we did have some like, Mount St. Charles hockey was really good. So you had guys like Garth Snow and Brian Bouchard.
Oh, yeah.
And who was actually eye incident in hockey years ago. Come on, you know it.
Eye incident? Did it come out?
He got hit in the puck, and it kind of ended his career. He was a good player.
Eyes freak me out, dude. I think I've talked about this before.
Damn it. Why this is not coming up? Brian Berard. You ever hear of Brian Berard?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I do not want to see the video, so please don't pull it up.
Yeah, but he played for a long, like he was really good. How good? First overall pick of the Ottawa Senators in 1995.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was -2.
And he's from Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Yeah, he's 48 now. That's crazy.
Should do a follow-up.
Played for the Islanders, Maple Leafs, Rangers, Bruins, Blackhawks,
Damn.
Blue Jackets. And yeah, I mean, I forget the actual play now, but the puck hit it, and that kind of ended it. But he had 619 games in the NHL. He played a long time. A really good player.
That is a lot of games.
So how about first overall pick from Rhode Island?
Is there a parade often? Can we go back?
No.
Wow.
But there should be. There might be. So, but around
this is like
here,
Palmetto, Florida all over again, bro. We ain't got nobody.
You got nobody coming out of Palmetto?
Nah.
Come on. There's got to be some famous people.
DRC was from Sarasota.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not.
Cromartie, that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dominic Rogers-Cromartie. Yeah. He's around all the time. Still lives in the 941. So that's
the one with all the kids?
Nah, that's he has kids, but that's the one from the Jets.
Is this true?
What?
Is Jeff Bezos from there?
No. What are you looking at?
Why does AI do this? Why is that the first thing? I say famous people from Palmetto, Florida.
There's two.
There's AI says Palmetto, Florida is home to a number of notable individuals, including both those who live there and those who have. This was Miami Palmetto.
Yeah.
So he's from Miami Palmetto.
That doesn't count.
So what would yours be considered like Tampa Palmetto?
You would just type in I don't know 34221. That's the zip code.
Like Palmetto High School though?
Yeah, Palmetto High School. That's us. Oh, we got nobody.
Like
You're not gonna
nobody. Like, are you one of the most famous people? It really wants to come up Miami Palmetto.
Bro, the craziest part about that is like
what's the zip code again?
34221. There's one kid did get drafted this year. I don't know his name. We had a kid get drafted by the Rays in baseball, and he never made it.
That'd be a big deal, getting drafted by the Rays.
Oh yeah, it was a big deal. We were pretty excited about it. He didn't make it. And then somebody got drafted this year in the NFL draft. I forget his name. I didn't go.
Oh, so you're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah, we got one. Sort of. He might get cut.
Seems like every town has like somebody famous.
Not Palmetto, dog. We claim DRC. He's one town over. There's some from like Lakewood Ranch, but that's not Palmetto.
Yeah, Lakewood Ranch would have a lot.
Calm down. They have a couple.
Is that where did the Pounceys from there? No, they're from Lakeland.
Yeah, that's not even close. Yeah. Lastings Millich was from Lakewood Ranch. You remember that name? Played for the Mets.
I do know that name.
Hickman would probably know that name. He was supposed to be real good. He was just okay. Hickman probably doesn't like him.
What's the next town over then that Cromartie's from?
Cromartie's from Sarasota.
Oh, so that's considered Sarasota.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, Austen Lane joined us in a bit. We go fishing at 11:30, by the way. Rob in the booth. Appreciate him being along for the day. Oh, here we go. We're going to get Sanford Lake Mary, Brendan Rodgers, Gabe Davis, Jimmy Horn Jr. Jimmy Horn Jr. is from down there in Sanford too, huh? Ocala has Culpepper. And anyone that retires. Didn't Ocala... Was Ocala where... so bad at these actors. Who's the actor that would fly the plane? Travolta, right? Mm-hmm. Did he have a place there? Does he still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has an airport attached to his house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But-
Sanford
so
also,
he still has that.
yeah.
Wow.
Sanford also has Latavius Murray, former
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah.
In the general area of Sanford, I forget exactly where is Francisco Lindor. I know that sounds crazy, but that's where he went to high school.
I love Lindor.
Interesting.
Yeah. I really like him.
Okay, good. Yeah, he's good. Quality player.
You know what's interesting? Like, think about players, and this is why I like Lindor. Lindor even went to Cleveland. I don't like Cleveland. Growing up, not growing up, but when I went to college, like, there were a bunch of Indians fans, and the Red Sox and Indians going back and forth at the time, and they were just annoying as hell. They had Albert Bell. They were ringing bells out the dorm room and stuff. It was so annoying.
Albert Bell was crazy.
But anyway, I'm not a big fan of Cleveland. But I've always loved Lindor. And the reason you love Lindor is because, man, he plays it with a smile on his face. Like, he looks like he's
Mr.
having
Smile, I believe.
a blast playing the game. And you just don't always see that.
Then he went to the Mets and started frowning.
Well, not really, though. He still plays it. And he plays the game the right way. Like, I saw him play the other day. I don't watch a lot of Mets games. I was watching him play, and he's going out for a ball in center field. He dives so the center fielder can make it, and then he just was, like, laughing and playing, like, dead on the ground for a minute. That's the kind of player he is. But you know what's interesting about that is I think that's the kind of player Travis Hunter is, which makes him very likable. I mean, you could play a game at this level with a smile on your face. Like, are we going to see that camera pan up, and even through the helmet, we're going to see him get up from a hit and smile, or get up and make a play, and that big smile that everybody now knows here in Jacksonville, like, that's a cool thing.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's important.
I think people like that, like, from a likability standpoint. How do you not like that?
Oh, you have to. Yeah, no, I think that's I said that a couple weeks ago. I think that's a big part of it. Like, who knows what he's going to say or when he's going to talk and all that stuff, but I think if he's got the big smile on the sidelines, and, like, it's going to be hard to tell through the helmet at times on the actual field.
That's tough in football.
Like, I think most people probably anticipate when he comes off the field, and, you know, if he's playing defense, then this is a different situation, but if he comes off the field playing offense and, like, takes the helmet off, I imagine you're going to see, like, the smile pretty quick. It feels like, and I think people are going to be looking for it, and yeah, man, it's a cool thing, especially in, like, football where it's extremely violent, right? Like, Lindor's not dealing with that. Like, he occasionally runs into somebody, but like,
he doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, Travis
you don't
Hunter's,
get the smile knocked off you in baseball, right?
Travis Hunter's whole thing is the smile, and people are out there trying to, you know, hit him in the next week. So,
who else plays a game with a smile, though? Seriously, like, who do you think of in basketball or hockey? You're not going to see this much. I don't think those guys smile much to begin with. But I mean, is there some even in a tennis or a golf or, like, athletes that just look like they're having fun?
Up until 2 weeks ago, I would have said Juan Soto.
He does, yeah. But you can tell he's feeling it.
Yeah, that
right?
kind of felt.
He looks stressed out
since he went to the.
I thought there was some of this with a guy like, you have that encounter with Freddie Freeman and Rizzo. But I think they do that more than just that baseline encounter where he's calling out his name, Frederick or something, right? But they seemed like over the years. Now, you go to New York, that doesn't. I feel like when I see Rizzo, I feel like I can envision his smile.
Yeah.
I think Freeman has a lot of that in him.
I think a lot of
I
it
think
is
Mookie has some of that.
Yeah, Mookie does for sure. I think a lot of it's just, like, baseball, though. And I think it's just because it's more like you can see them versus hockey. You can't really see them. And football, you obviously with the helmet. Basketball is the one I just don't think anybody's ever happy because they're always trying to get a foul call.
Oh, yeah. Gosh. Nobody smiles in basketball.
No. And I don't know. I feel like there's always something going on. So I think baseball, it's easier to just, like, see it just because there's more time to be like, let's look at Lindor standing there.
That is true. That is true. It's something that there are two. I always talk about, like, the handshake line that I kind of like. But
did you watch last night?
Yeah,
there were some handshakes.
That was good. That was good. Did you hear his response? Maybe we'll get to it a little bit later. It was good. It was good. Like, the reasoning why I thought was pretty cool. But I also like people, when you see a professional athlete looking like he's having fun, it's really a cool thing. Because it doesn't happen all the time. It is a job for them. It's a grind. It's serious pressure. It's a lot of money. It's a big business. Like, all those things are real. And so when you can strip that down and get back to the core level of a guy just having fun like a kid, that's why we like the big games so much, I think, in many respects. World Series, they don't look like they're playing for the money in those moments. They will do anything to win. Like, you can tell You could tell even, I'll say Karl Anthony Towns. We were talking about it. Like that dude, no matter how much money he's making, no matter how much his left knee hurts, he was going downhill and trying to win. Now, they didn't, but he was trying. When you can see a guy leaving it all out there, which you just don't get at the pro level all the time because it's so lengthy and so hard to do, like every minute of every play, there's some appreciation in that. And I think the smile goes along with that too in sports because, quite honestly, as I ask that question, I don't really think you see it a lot. I think it looks so damn stressful most of the time. Think about a golfer. Think about when Tiger would smile and let loose.
Right.
It would be like, whoa. It'd be like this aha moment.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see. It's like, holy cow, that dude's not a robot.
Yeah, it's true. I give you that.
So, yeah, I just appreciate that. Maybe you didn't even realize you appreciate that. And I wonder how much we're going to appreciate that out of a guy like Travis Hunter. And I think it'll be great someday. Think about this in the context of Trevor Lawrence. Really hasn't had a chance to smile on a field too much.
Yeah, outside of the Chargers.
At the NFL level, like that's the one that comes to mind.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Comes to mind is that, and not many others.
Chargers and
I'm thinking hard here.
It wasn't really a smile, but I smiled when he waved the Tennessee fans home.
Yeah, that was a little different.
But I mean,
different. But you're right.
That's
good.
That's about it.
But we haven't had a chance to see that, which shows you that's 4 years.
Yeah, hasn't been a lot of good.
It's a grinder, man. Like there's been more good than that, but you don't see that genuine, let it out
because you're only going to get that if you win, and they have not done a whole lot of winning since Trevor Lawrence has been here.
I do think of that's why the Tennessee game in 22 to go to the playoffs was really cool. It wasn't Trevor necessarily, but it was those guys running around, helmets off, after the big play, and Rayshon Jenkins brought a lot of that. Jenkins was a little bit of that player where he could play with a bit of a smile sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure if we go back to the Cowboys, I'm sure Trevor's probably pretty happy running on that field when Rayshon had to pay. Yeah, so
there were some cool moments where you actually see that. It's almost like you let the air out of the balloon a little bit, which I think that's kind of neat in sports because you just don't get a lot of it. This is actually a game we should play on here maybe, is who's the most famous person from your town. We got a lot of different people.
I have
you would lose.
Yeah,
I got a better chance in Rhode Island. So now I could probably use the whole state because it's so small.
I wonder if I could find somebody from Indiana where I'm from, but that's probably even unlikely.
Absolutely. What town? Oh, Valpo.
Yeah.
Well, it's not from, right?
Yeah, I know it.
But that's what everybody's mind goes to. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's what they go to. Do people in Valpo still talk about that? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Is there like a billboard up, a statue?
There's no billboard.
That was Bryce Drew, right?
Bryce Drew, yeah. There may be a statue. I'll tell you, this is a random one. My dad was there when my grandparents were still alive up there, and because the autograph thing. My dad's like, "Yo, bro's at the bookstore right now, signed autographs. You want me to go over there?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he brought back 8 signed posters.
I would imagine Bryce Drew would go back there twice a year and still be pretty big.
Oh, huge! He's the biggest thing.
The biggest thing
in Valpo. Yes, absolutely, unquestioned.
All right,
there's not much going on in Valpo, dog.
They do love their basketball, though.
Love it. Oh yeah. They play football, too. They don't love it as much, but...
Yeah, they're not as good at football.
No, they're terrible, actually.
People from Valparaiso, Indiana.
Here we go.
Might be some people I have no idea who they are. This is alphabetical.
Give me the good news.
So I got to run down. I mean, we've got a lot of people here, and I haven't heard of anybody yet.
Not one.
Nothing
good. No hockey, basketball, politician, musician.
Orville Redenbacher.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
There we go. I had to get to the R's.
Yep, I forgot that. That's a thing. The popcorn guy.
Yeah. That's pretty good, though.
It's not a bad one.
That's not a bad one. Oh, that's crazy. I don't know any of these people.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you.
Which means they're all probably like scientists.
Right? Geniuses for sure coming out of Valpo. Not me, but yeah.
Here's Robbie Hummel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know about Robbie Hummel. Purdue.
How famous.
What are you talking about? Menace for the Purdue Boilermakers. Current broadcaster on Big Ten Network. How'd I forget about Robbie? Oh, yeah.
Sean Manea.
Sean Manea's from Valpo?
Yeah.
The pitcher?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Who knew?
And then, you know this person. 2 people. Steven Alexander.
Not to be confused with Sean.
No. Not an athlete.
Not a clue.
How about Adam Mockler?
No.
TikTok star and a YouTube star, apparently.
Look at us! Not a baby Valpo?
And they're ranked 1 and 2, ahead of Manea and ahead of Hummel.
Redenbacher? Ahead of the Popcorn Man?
Carly Schroeder, actress. Never heard of her.
Nope, nothing there.
There you go. That's what you got.
Slim pickings.
I mean, you come from the most nondescript places ever.
Telling you.
I mean,
nothing special.
If you just get a little bit better here on the show, you might become the most famous person out of Valpo and Palmetto.
Dude, I was grinded before. When I used to tell people, I was like, yeah, bro, no big deal. Like, you know, I goof around on ESPN radio in Jacksonville. It's like, oh! And now I'm like, I'm on the Sports Jacks 21st. They're like, what? Weren't you just ESPN? I'm
It
like,
was great. Yeah, like when you
Same
say,
thing.
it was so funny. It was when you say, yeah, we're on ESPN 690. Like, oh, wow, you're on for ESPN?
Dude.
Yeah.
People thought I was so important.
Yeah, no
I was
doubt.
getting like, hey, are you coming to the reunion for high school? I was like, no. And now they're like, hey, I saw you changed your bio. What happened? I'm like, oh, crap.
Dude, it's an AM radio station.
They don't know that. I mean, listen, you got to play it up. I'll tell you, this is the best one, though, for high school wise. My aunt, I think I told you this, went to high school with Tony Stewart.
Oh, wow.
And Tony Stewart was like trying to date my aunt.
Really?
But my aunt thought she was too good for Tony Stewart. So she
How about that?
straight
She
swerved him.
probably was.
She wasn't.
I got a dating Tony Stewart story, too, but I'm not sharing it.
Oh, I know that one, too. We can't share that one. But, yeah, no, my aunt.
It's got nothing to do with directly me, just like
No, but that's actually
I
a
was
good one.
not
That's
dating Tony Stewart.
That's a better one than this one. But yeah, my aunt just straight up swerved Tony Stewart in high school. So
Hey, we caught up with Emmanuel Ogbah.
what a transition.
Time to get away from that one.
Transition of transitions right there.
Or I say something I shouldn't say.
Yeah, that was wild.
And I didn't catch up with Emmanuel Ogbah. Marcel Robinson did this week at OTAs, and if I don't get this in, I'll never get it in. So let's play it. And I really do think, we talked about it a bit yesterday, I think Ogbah could be a huge part of this. Think about this, 43.5 sacks. He's definitely on the older side now, if you will. They've got Armstead and Ogbah now in their early 30s.
Yeah.
But 43.5 sacks would be like third all-time in Jags history.
Yeah.
I mean, if he played his entire career here, the thing that I really liked about Ogbah when I looked him up, it's like 5 sacks last year. It might have been like 5 the year before. He had one where he missed, he only played like in 3 games where he had 1 sack. Before that, it was 9 and 9 for the Miami Dolphins. What I'm getting at here is there's a number between like 5 and 9 that's pretty consistent. Mm-hmm. And the last guy I said that about was actually Calais. When Calais got to Jacksonville at the age of what would have been, I think, 30 or 31, he had basically every season in the NFL, I think it was every one in Arizona, had been between 5 sacks and 9 sacks. He had never had a double-digit sack year, and he had never been below 5. Mm-hmm. He was a very consistent, here's what I'm going to give you. Well, then he obviously boosted those numbers in Jacksonville. And I'm not predicting that for Ogbah. I'm just saying I think it's a pretty reliable deal to say, hey, 5 sacks. And if he does have 5 sacks, that would be like, if 5 sacks are the third most on the Jacksonville Jaguars, it would be the most, I think, since Arden Key. And I'm not even sure Key had that.
That's right.
Key might have had 4.5 sacks. I'll look that up during the interview. But the Jags have really had a hole there behind Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. And specifically last year when they traded away Roy Robertson-Harris, and he's still third on the team in sacks. And it's not like they traded away in week 15. Yeah. That's the kind of problem that they have had. So if you can get 5 or 6 sacks out of Ogbah, and then a guy like Armstead is able to contribute with a handful of his own, well, now you've really got something cooking on the defensive front. Mm-hmm. So how good can the defensive front be? I think this guy's a big part of it.
Video. Check. All right, man. So, I guess obviously, first off, welcome to Jacksonville. You know, what are the immediate thoughts? So we'll get to the team in a second, but I mean, this Heat is undefeated.
Yeah. You know, I just came from down the street, so you know, Miami is kind of similar weather. So I'm used to the heat, and I was born in Nigeria, so I'm used to the heat. But yeah, Jacksonville is definitely different from Miami. I would say that. Yeah.
Talk about, you know, the heat of the team on the field. Obviously, you guys are kind of heating up. You know, OTAs. This is the 4th session. You know, what's the room like? You know, we're specifically talking about the defensive line room that you're in. You know, what's the feeling? How y'all gelling together?
It's definitely a brotherhood. You know, every team I've been a part of, the D-line is always close, and that's how we dominate. So just building that camaraderie between each other. You know, talking to each other, learning about each other, knowing each other's like what they like to do on the field, just working connected with each other. And that's the most important thing going forward during the season.
It's funny because we always talk about how the offensive line is like as a community or as a unit. It's almost like one big dance. But the same thing on the defensive line. The guys on the interior and on the outsides. How is that coming? Because obviously, knowing the guy next to you really well helps you, right?
Exactly. Just like I said, if I know what Eric is about to do, I could just play off of him. So, just building that relationship with them, just knowing them in and out, it just helps progress our game even better.
You're no stranger to the league, of course, but this room that you're in is kind of filled with some veteran players. How much does that help? Obviously, you like having the rookies to come along, kind of teach them the game, but to have some guys that have seen a lot of football, that's got to help in terms of what you guys can do this season.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Veterans bring leadership, they bring knowledge of the game. So we watch each other. Like I've watched Josh's highlight, I've watched Trey's highlight, Eric's highlight. We know each other. So we just bring that veteran knowledge of the game, and we just bounce knowledge off of each other and just know what to do at certain situations.
Well, since you brought them up, we'll mention them, 41 and 44, those guys on the edges. I heard you say that you were very familiar with them before you got here. Are they as advertised?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Talented. 44 can run, 41 can run too. But yeah, they're definitely a talented group, and they're special players, and I can't wait to go out there and work with them.
Do you feel like even a guy like yourself who has seen a lot of football, who's experienced the highs of the highs, you feel like they can kind of still push you to be maybe unlock another level that you maybe didn't even know that you had?
Oh, definitely. I like competition. So if I see a guy going out there giving his all, I want to give my all too. I don't want to be the guy that let the team down. That's not the type of player I am. So every time I'm on the field, I try to give my all.
Speaking of competition, another guy that likes competition is your defensive coordinator. That dude seems like he's absolutely nuts, but in the best way. I love it. Just talk about, what, Campanelli brings to this defense and what type of defense we're going to see out of you guys.
Oh, we got intensity and toughness defense, He's going to bring that will. He's going to bring that energy, too, I know you've seen the HBO special of camp. That's him 24/7. He's a great guy. When you need him, he's going to be that guy. You're lacking energy, he's going to be there. Hey, what's wrong? And hype you up. But it's just a great coach, a family-oriented coach, and you don't see a lot of that in the league, but I'm glad to play for somebody like that. So
I've also noticed that he's very hands-on. When I was down there watching you guys in the drills, he was basically like right in your earshot. Yeah. Just talk about, it's not too much, but it's definitely a good thing to have him that close and to have that hands-on guy, right?
So he wants to know about his place. He wants to learn what you're good at and what you're struggling with so he could help bring you up. So that's the type of coach he is. But just having him, lecture us, just talk to us, just letting us know, hey, good job, or hey, you need to do this and this better. You need that. You need that motivation too. So.
Well, enough about everyone else. Let's bring the conversation back to you. What does Emmanuel Ogbah bring to this team, this defensive line room, this unit?
Yeah, I bring that veteran leadership. I bring that toughness. Yeah, I bring that. Get after it. I hate losing. So bring that team together. That's why I'm here, just to bring everybody together and go out there and dominate. So.
You mentioned my fun fact a little earlier, but also, you being a Nigerian, you got a Nigerian mate here, obviously, in Foye. What have you seen from the guys behind you, specifically a guy like Foye?
At first, I told Foye, man, you got to tell me what you're running that 40. It looked like he was moving pretty good. but yeah, he brings that leadership as well. I've known about him. I've never really talked to him until I got here. But yeah, he brings that leadership mentality, and he's a great linebacker for us.
You guys like quizzing each other, like who's more Nigerian than the other?
He knows I'm more Nigerian, but he's Yoruba and I'm Igbo, so it's different tribes. But I talk mess about that with him a little bit. So yeah.
Awesome. Last one for you. This one just kind of, in totality. This is a team that is obviously everything's new. New leadership at the top, obviously new coach, new GM. How much do you kind of relish in the fact of being part of what could be the start of something great here in Jacksonville?
Just being a part of something special, that's what you want. You want to be there when you don't want to go to a program that's already winning. You want to be a part of the journey, be a part of the one that builds the team up. And that's the reason why I'm here as well. I want to be that part of the guys that brought this team up, like I said, it's a special group of guys here, and the intensity of how we work together and all the camaraderie we have. So, it's going to be special this year, and I can't wait. So.
Awesome. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
All right, that is Emmanuel Ogbah, and he seems happy to be here. That's an interesting comment at the end, right? Like, hey, I'd rather help something change around. Yeah. Rather than just go to Kansas City or Philadelphia. I mean, there's something to be said for that.
See how he feels in November.
But you like the attitude.
Yeah, for sure.
To be able to do that.
No, I like everything I heard. Bro's got a little bit of personality, which is cool. I'm excited to be here, which is important. What I find hilarious about this is, not to bring up radio again, but I'm gonna. Do you remember, and you won't because you have a lot going on, South Beach Gary randomly called one day and out of nowhere was like, we'll trade you Ogbah, but we're only taking a second round. Like, that's all he said. He like talked about Emmanuel Ogbah trading to the Jags for like a second round pick. He's like, we're not taking a third, only a second. So when they signed, bro, I'm like, South Beach Gary, bro, he knew.
Hey, good call. Years in the making.
Now it was more like, but you know, I guess he spoke it into existence. But yeah, like that, I like it. I like what I heard. I like the addition. I think you should probably expect to get something from him, like on the field, not like trade wise. But like, I think he's someone who could bring you something, and it's a good thing.
I'm trying to do this during the conversation.
You still can't find the Arden Key thing?
No, I got the Arden Key one now.
Okay.
So here's my point. If I've got this right, last year, you obviously have Josh and Trayvon.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going with is, who's the third best sack getter for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the last however many years? And last year, Mason Smith with 3 did eclipse Roy Robertson Harris finally.
Whew. Close.
The year prior, it was Roy Robertson Harris, I think, with 3.5. I don't have it now.
I just looked at it. It is.
In 2022, Josh Hines-Allen, they went to the playoffs, and Josh Hines-Allen led the team with 7 sacks.
Yes. You don't remember that? Yeah, no, it was a big
And
story.
DeJuan Smoot had 5, and Arden Key had 4.5.
Yep.
Trayvon, by the way, 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually more balanced in a sense, but nobody over 5.
Yep.
Which is crazy. In 2021, Josh had 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
DeJuan had 6. Damian Wilson and Adam Gotsis and Roy Robertson Harris tied with 3. Roy, I tell you, was good for 3 sacks.
Locked in. No more, no less.
Let's go in 2020.
This was not a good football team.
Gosh. DeJuan Smoot, 5.5 sacks.
Holy crap.
Joe Schobert, 2.5 sacks. Josh had 2.5. He didn't play, remember, the whole year. Miles Jack with 1. This is insane.
Do you remember any of these humans? Do you remember Lynch?
Yeah, I mean, I do remember them, but
I don't.
Not a lot of them.
Josh
had 10.5 in 2019. Jan had 8. Campbell and Smoot had 6.5. So the last time the third leading sack getter for the Jacksonville Jaguars was 5 or more sacks was bad. 2019, and that was Campbell and Smoot. Just go back one more year for the hell of it.
Yeah, it's not going to get you anything better. Malik Jackson, 3.5.
I mean, holy cow.
No wonder they never win. Go to 17.
Now I can't go to 17 on this one that I'm at. 17 that you had Calais, Jan, and Josh. No, Josh wasn't. Nope. Josh was 18.
You had 2 guys with 8 as your third sack getter in that year. Dante Fowler, Malik Jackson.
Okay. Malik had 8?
Malik and Dante had 8.
Okay.
Each.
So
Jan
really,
had 12, Calais had 14.
one time since 2017, the Jags have had somebody 5. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's really bad.
That's really nuts.
It's unacceptable.
Wow. All right, let's take a time out. Brent and Austen Show, the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. Austen will join us in just a little bit. Casey hangs with us as well, Rob too. And we go fishing in just a little bit with Paul Dozier. So we've still got that to get to. And we'll try to solve the riddle that is the Jags pass rush along the way. Little NBA. My goodness, by the way, NBA playoffs, like, in a way you feel like it's good because you had some of these crazy comebacks. But I'm so tired of these deciding games being 40-point blowouts. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Can we get closer games in the NBA? This is ridiculous. Show up.
Show up. It's rough. The one thing I like about it is, like, I check the score. I'm like, oh, they're down 40. I don't have to watch that. So what else is on?
I mean, I don't know how to sum up these playoffs because you've had some historical things happen.
Yeah.
But day in, day out, I think it's been pretty blah.
Agreed.
Like, I don't really think it's been good. And we started like a couple months ago or weeks ago, whenever it started. You're like, damn, this playoff's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of GTA, been able to skip it. Just checking the scores, like, oh, OKC's got him again.
We'll be right back. Best Bet Jax, by the way, good place to go this weekend and watch any of the games in St. Augustine. Aces Bar and Grill. We'll be down there next Thursday as the Pro Atlas Tour hits Jacksonville. And you can also go Monument Road and Orange Park as well. Look up bestbetjax.com for the latest promotions happening at all three locations. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jags Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater, plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows. And down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters. And to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground. The water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, here's a look at the Adaptive Golf Championships at World Golf Village. This has been a week, well, not a week-long thing. Started on Tuesday with a clinic, and then yesterday was the first day of the golf. And a really cool event going down at the Slammer and Squire at the World Golf Village. And right there, Jake Olson, by the way, and I think you know that name, did a 30 for 30 on him. We didn't. Obviously, ESPN did. And well known for playing for USC, the first completely blind Division I athlete to play football. Later got tryouts in the NFL as well. Well, he is one of the best blind golfers in the world. And he is down at World Golf Village as well and was part of this competition. There are a bunch of different categories that are going on. It's a $50,000 purse with 45 players. And it's pretty amazing. I mean, one of the scores was 4 under par, 68. Some of the scores, 74, 75, 76. Some of the other scores higher as well. So it's all different levels. But just incredibly inspiring and amazing to see what some of these athletes are doing. And in a moment or two, we might head down to World Golf Village, too, and talk a little bit more about this and something that maybe we'll see come back to the area as well. Today's the final day of competition as the 36-hole event concludes, and they're out there playing right now. So we hope to check in just a couple of moments. Just to put a bow on the conversation we just had about Jaguars pass rush numbers. Oh, my gosh. I mean, it's amazing if you look at it. Daniel says Smoot averaged 5.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, which is pretty impressive. Sacks on a running back, so Smoot mostly not a starter. What does that mean? Tackles for losses. I get you. I don't know if people count those as sacks on the running back, but I get it. It's a good metric. And it's just amazing that the Jags have been that void of a third impact pass rusher. And they really have 2 big candidates, in my opinion, this year with Eric Armstead, if he can come back to form, and now Emmanuel Ogbah as well as the Jags signed. So more on that in a bit, and obviously throughout the offseason. But they need more help at that spot if they're going to be impacting the quarterback over the next year, and hopefully in the future beyond that. All right, let's head down to World Golf Village right now, and we're trying this out. We think we've got it all set up, and I think this is Bill Peace as he joins us from the Adaptive Championship down at Slammer and Squire. And well, hopefully this works, and you can hear us, and we can hear you, Bill. But thanks for taking us to the golf course today.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, thank you. Well, if I don't sign, I'm visually impaired, so I can't see. When the producer's like, give me a thumbs up, I'm like, okay, I don't know. Anyway, I'm so excited for you guys to help us promote these folks. And just coming off the 9th green with a birdie, you just mentioned him, Jake Olson, the best blind golfer in the world. Here he is.
Oh, what's up, guys? How we doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, you guys good?
You be playing pretty well or what?
Yeah, I mean, turn it on. I mean, you never complain about a birdie on 9, so, going to the back here, but we're having fun, and it's just an awesome tournament, awesome people out here. Just it's always inspiring to see people just not letting their disabilities, circumstances dictate having fun in life. They're just out here enjoying this game, and it's a real pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and keep up the inspirational work, and go play well in the back 9. One other thing real quick before you go. Are you living in Jacksonville now? Did I hear that?
I am, yeah. So if there's a long snapper position open on the Jaguars, let me know, all right?
All right, we'll do that, man. Go get him on the backside.
Play well, brother. But thank you guys for promoting this thing for us, and we're trying to grow grow this. And we've invited 50 of the top 400, 500 of the world with players with disabilities. And I was listening to your intro, and you're right. I mean, we had a gentleman yesterday shoot 4 under, has no legs and no fingers on one hand. And it was inspiring. He's from France. I mean, just some of the scores are incredible. We've got probably about 10 of the top 30 in the world here. And I mean, everything from, lower limb disabilities, one-arm golfers, visually impaired. The visually impaired guy, his vision's about 2,400. I'm visually impaired, but he's about 20 over 400. He shot 74 yesterday.
Wow.
And it's something, if you ever see these folks play live, it'll change your life, change your perspective, but they don't have anything to complain about. They're getting out here and, rooting it on and trying to go for this. But it's been great to get these folks out here and show their talents off. Even the females that are here, I've got 2 players from the University of Arizona adaptive team here, and 2 of the girls are here, and they're out there competing it out, knocking it out. University of Arizona has an incredible disabled program, an adaptive program, the biggest in the country, matter of fact. Anybody locally here that's in high school that's disabled, that's interested in, if they play sports, they've got great scholarships out there, University of Arizona, for disabled athletes. It's an amazing thing they've got going on there, and funding for disabled, whether it's wheelchair, blind, cerebral palsy. One of the gentlemen that shot 75 yesterday, cerebral palsy, came up to the tee, and I was like, Daniel, man, that's incredible. He's like, yeah, I missed a few birdie putts. I'm like, what? And they're playing like tips, they're playing like 63, 6,400 yards. And these guys are not playing short. But I just thought my wife and I are just so pleased to do this. And, if people want to get involved with us over the next year doing this or helping us out at all, you go to our website, Weekend Golf 2, the number 2, and, get involved with us. Or if you know anybody that's disabled, we do a lot of clinics, and we'd like to get as many people as we can out playing this sport. There's really no limit.
Yeah, Bill, how new is this, and where are you guys from? And also, I think you come back to St. Simon's Island in the fall, which is just an hour and a half north of where you are right now. So it's in our viewing area too. But give us a little bit more background at just how this started and where you're going with it, in the future.
Well, I appreciate you asking that. I was, believe it or not, a marching band director at University of Virginia, basketball, all the athletics, and started losing my vision. And my son was down here chasing the mini tours. So 2019, after 30 years of teaching, I had to decide to pack it up and go to Florida. We love Northeast Florida. And so I've run a couple blind tournaments, and that's gone well, but I wanted to try to touch more people and get more people involved. So now we're doing it for all adaptive. If you go to the USGA, United States Golf Association, they actually have an adaptive championship where they take the best of the best in the world and do a championship. Now they've run it. This will be the 4th year, and they're really pushing this. We're pushing it from the prize purse standpoint. This is the largest prize purse times 10.
Wow.
No one's ever done over $5,000.
Wow.
But my wife and I, my goal before I go horizontal here is, $1 million. $1 million purse for the best disabled golfers. Most of these folks, they live on very small means. They pay their own ways to get here. And take care, brother. They're coming by saying hi. But yeah, I mean, that's my goal one day is to, let's get this thing out there. Because if you see it live, and I'm blind, I don't see it, but if you feel it, touch it out here and see it and see these men and women doing this, it'll change your life, forever. And I want to change their lives, make their lives better. Give them something to play for financially, to pay their way, get a little bit of prize money here and there. But the USGA and the RNA started this a few years ago, and there's been organizations that have done it before, but now it's on a higher platform. The better players are coming out and playing. If you go on social media after you look at USGA and look at some of the followings, Kip Poppert, number 1 in the world. I mean, he'll shoot 13, 14 under
Wow.
2 or 3 days with cerebral palsy. And he's played with Rory. I mean, Jake's played with Tiger. We have Chad Pfeiffer here. I think today he shot 2 or 3 under. I think he was through 16. And he's the best lower leg, one leg golfer in the world. He's from Idaho, Boise area. So, yeah, I'm sure you guys have probably seen folks with different disabilities out on the golf course. And it takes a lot, not just for the one person, but you need a tribe with you. You need a herd, to get out there and support you. I mean, it's no different than the Jags playing in an empty stadium. They can't stand that. They want to get people out there and get the crowd filled. I know you guys are pumping the Jags, which is great now, and we love that too. But athletes play when, they step up to the challenge. Hey guys, hey.
Bill P's with us, by the way, from weekendgolf2.org down at the World Golf Village Adaptive Championship. You got 45 golfers, I think, 45 amazing stories as well in our line of work. You could tell a story about every one that is down there right now at Slammer and Squire. So we appreciate you shedding some light on it. Let me just finish with this as we let you go, Bill. Has golf grown in the area of adaptive play and giving folks an outlet to be competitive? I mean, I think of Jake Olson and his competition level, right? For a guy that did what he did at USC and try out with the NFL and all those things and how much it meant to him to compete. So this has given him an outlet to continue to do that. But I've also seen like your seeded division and the technology that has come along in the last few years. I've done some things in the last few years on TV about some of those, whether it's a motorized wheelchair that helps. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but that helps with someone's swing. So how much has this come across and come along, but also how much more popular is it now in the adaptive community?
Well, I got to play in the first 2 at Pinehurst, and I'm going to qualify for the one at USGA. And how they treat you and us talking to other people and spreading the word. They didn't even know adaptive golf was a thing. And it's spreading. I've over the past 4 years, it's 4 or 5 times the fold where it used to be. We go to the USGA, it's like a major championship. 30-second story. I walk up and his son's with me because I can't see the balls or anything. The guy comes out the driving range. They put my name on the thing. I said, "Who is that?" He said, "That's you, Dad." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, what type of balls would you like, Mr. Peace?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I don't know. You got some top flights in there." He's like, "No, you want Titleist Pro V1, you want AVX, you want left dash, what do you want?" I'm like, are you kidding? Are they new? Can I steal them? It was like, tin cup, but it's just, we're being treated, this community, as you mentioned, the seeded players, we're being treated like professional golfers. Maybe not the purses, and that's what my wife and I are trying to do. But, when we go to these places and compete, it's no different than running a Corn Ferry Tour or any other tour. It's amazing. And you brought up Jake. You're exactly right. Jake shot 98 yesterday. Go out and play totally blind and tell me if you can scratch 98 on 9 holes. He sees no light. It's and then, like you said, the seeded players. There's 2, one from Arkansas, one from New Jersey here. It's incredible to see these guys. Their legs are literally, they can't feel them. And these carts take them up on the green and, move them all around. And it's not just a story of perseverance, which it is, but it's a story of how good these guys are and girls, the athletes. These are, it's amazing. You probably know Jake's story a little bit more, but if you got on his Instagram, looked at it, and some of the pro golfers that he's played blindfolded, it's amazing. And I appreciate the 2 of you gentlemen, pushing our word here, because we want Northeast Florida to be a leader in this, adaptive golf. And if anyone wants to get in there with us and partner up and make it even bigger, great. If not, God bless you. If you know anybody that's disabled, send them our way next year for our clinic, and we'd love to have them. And maybe you 2 boys come out and take me on with some glasses that you can't see out of. I'd love that.
I like the idea. I know how that's going to work out, but I like the idea.
Well, I appreciate you. My son listens to you guys on the radio, so I appreciate it.
Well, hey, we appreciate you and your wife and for all you're doing here. Seems like a terrific tournament. So congratulations on that, your wife, Linda, and Bill Peace. Good luck with the rest of it. We'll see how it finishes up, and we'll tell everybody about it tonight on TV as well, CBS 47 and Fox 30. And don't forget to go to weekendgolf2.org to get more information about it. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, brother. Take care. Bless
all
you
right.
guys.
That's Bill Peace, and pretty cool with a little cameo from Jake Austen. An unbelievable story. If you haven't, I just heard about it last night that he was living in Jacksonville and a part of this event. So I started reading a little bit more about his story and just reminding and refreshing myself of his story. And if you haven't done that, you really should check it out. Pretty unbelievable. And now he's one of the best blind golfers in the world and has moved to Jacksonville. So maybe we'll hear a little bit more about his story as the months and years go ahead here in Northeast Florida. But again, weekendgolf2.org. Let's do this. Take a time out. If Paul Dozier doesn't mind waiting, we'll then hit our Let's Go Fishing segment presented by Armor Guard Exterior and Nimick Buick GMC. We've got some cool catches to tell you about, plus some reports going into the weekend. And Paul is back from the Bahamas. What if he brought any trophy fish or trophies? Cashed a check? Who knows? We'll find out. Let's go fishing up next.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed. Weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training, along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition, and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajax.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajax.org. Don't wait, apply today.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjax.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, so we got some catches of the day. Let's go fishing, presented by Nimnick Buick GMC and Armor Guard Exteriors. Got our helmet. More on those guys in just a moment. But Stephen Porter was watching the show last night on TV when we were talking about our Let's Go Fishing segment, and he sent a handful of pictures in, including this. What is this, Paul Dozier?
That is a beautiful bull dolphin or mahi. That's a fantastic fish.
That's a pretty fish.
That's a very nice fish. Those fish are gorgeous when they're in the water, when they first come out of the water, and then when they're dead, they're not so pretty. But,
oh, really?
Yeah, they lose all their color. But that fish was that's a nice fish. That's what you call a nice gaffer dolphin, and those fish grow from. They're the fastest growing fish in the ocean, and I think they grow 10 to 20 pounds a year at least.
Really?
Yeah.
So why is that?
All they do is eat. They
eat.
swim and eat. They're fast, and they just eat. They eat. So they grow fast. Excellent table fare, excellent fish. That looks like a beautiful day and a great catch.
Wow. Hey, by the way, May is Military Appreciation Month at Nimnick Buick GMC, and they proudly salute the brave men and women coming off Memorial Day. It's a good time to go shopping for a new vehicle. Nimnick supports Canines for Warriors as well. Get an additional $500 off select new Buick and GMCs as a thank you from everyone at Nimnick Buick GMC, and a thank you for your service and sacrifice. Check out NimnickBuickGMC.com and Nimnick Buick GMC off Phillips Highway. Remember, nobody but Nimnick. Brent Martineau, Paul Dozier, let's go fishing. And how was the Bahamas? We tried you last week.
Yeah.
We don't know what the hell happened, but we tried.
Yeah, the Bahamas is still there. It's great. It's always a good time to go.
You've been a visitor the last month or so.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have some great friends that continue to have me back. But they even let me reel in a blue marlin last week, which is the first one I've caught myself. I'm usually driving the boat, and the first one I've caught myself in a few years. So that was a great thrill.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was actually just got a phone call from my friend Matt Bridgewater down there, and they just released a blue marlin literally as we were about to come on air. So they're fishing today down there.
May is for marlin.
May is the best time of year. May is the best month for here in the Bahamas. April is good in the Bahamas as well, but May the weather's better. So fishing's good.
That's good. What about around here?
Fishing's good here as well. The kingfish have showed up on the beach, which is great news for the old school kingfish shootout. We went out in the boat last weekend and rode up and down the beach looking for bait. There was no bait to be found from St. Augustine up to what we call the Gate Station, which is the gas station right there between, just south of Guana. And then we rode down to Crescent Beach in our boat and never saw any bait. But today I've gotten a couple friends out there that have not only caught plenty of bait on the beach, which is a huge part of it, they've also caught some nice kingfish this morning. So the first kingfish of the season, or kingfish tournament of the season, is this weekend. It's Saturday. The Nassau Sport Fishing Association has a kingfish tournament, and the guys will be thrilled to hear there's some pogies around.
Oh, good deal. And the bait's a big deal, obviously, there. But your old school Kingfish Shootout is now just a couple of weeks away, a couple of weeks from Saturday, which means the early entry, May 31st, you got to get in by the weekend to take advantage of that. I don't know where my flyers. That's what I was looking around for. Like, where'd my flyers go? Where'd they go?
Somebody must come in here and clean this place up.
I could actually. That's a couple of things I couldn't find. I had a to-do list and and the flyers. I don't know where they went.
Well, luckily you got the virtual flyer right here. So
you're good. Old school Kingfish Shootout. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, May 31st is the $250 entry fee. Now we'll take registrations up until the day of, the day before on Friday, but the price breaks from $250 to $350 on May 31st.
Okay.
So save yourself $100. Pay 25 places, 25 juniors. First place is going to win a 21-foot yellowfin bay boat valued at $125,000. I was in Sarasota yesterday. The boat is in production and a beautiful boat. It's a gray boat. It's going to have a 200-horse Yamaha engine, a Meritrail trailer, and it's one of the best prizes in all of fishing. So $250 entry fee, family fun, not too much pressure, easy day of fishing, 7 to 3. And somebody's going to get lucky and win a whole bunch of money.
By the way, we're going to have the weigh-in right here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network again, like we did last year. So we'll start that right about 2 o'clock. It goes to 5:30 or so on June 14th, Saturday, June 14th, obviously. But get your early entry and save some money there. What's your favorite part about this event? Because there's a bunch of things that stand out, right? Obviously, you guys do things a little bit different. You make it good for everybody. But then there's that $10,000 lucky ticket drawing, which you've made a part of your tournaments, usually courtesy of a Nimnik Buick GMC, which is great because if you catch any fish, right, you get in that drawing.
Yeah. We've tried to make it to where everybody's got a chance to win something. There's one winner of the tournament. The guy who wins the boat's going to win the tournament, and generally, the second and third place people get paid. But other than that, so we go to 25. But if you catch a fish, like you said, you have an opportunity. I mean, it's way better odds than the lottery to win $10,000.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is send us in a picture with your boat number. Don't have to weigh it in, and come to the awards and celebrate the winners and cheer them on, and we're going to pull somebody's name out of a hat for $10,000. But my favorite part of the tournament is seeing the families. You see the kids and the smile on the face of the kids. And you mentioned the live feed, the Garmin live feed we've done, and it's a real production. We've taken it to the next level. I've fished and I watch a lot of tournaments live feeds, and ours is better than everybody else's. We have Philip Green that
he does a great job.
He's crazy as can be and funny as can be, but he gets these kids and they makes the kids feel like stars and interviews them and gets them excited, and the kids, you can see that look in their face, and that's probably the best part of it for us, is just to see that. And, the lucky ticket, you get the right guy to win the lucky ticket, and you pull his name out of the hat, and you see that organic reaction to somebody winning $10,000. And we've had great stories. Sam Spinks won the lucky ticket one year, and he and his wife were getting married, and they'd use that money to go on their honeymoon. We've had a couple the first year won the tournament, and they found out the day before the tournament that the wife was pregnant, and they named their daughter. They won the tournament, won a bunch of money, named their daughter Mac after King Mackerel. So we've got some great stories over the years. It seems to, you get these families fishing together. It creates more good stuff like that.
That's good stuff. All right, speaking of some great catches, what do we have here?
We have a very nice grouper. That's a gag grouper.
Good eating fish.
Very good eating fish. Yeah, that's a bottom fish, and the grouper opens May 1st around here. We have a very limited season to catch these things around here, or at least keep them. But that's a nice gag grouper there.
What else we have, Rob? You got a couple, or we'll get back to some of the more pictures in a minute. Let's get to Captain Roger and his fishing tip, if we can, from downtown Jacksonville. This is actually going into last weekend, but I think it also will work well going into this weekend. Speaking of bait, he talks a little bit about that. Here he is. he's balancing some things there. But that's a good little backdrop. And you mentioned it last time you were in right there. That's a good spot.
Yeah, downtown.
That might not be his spot, by the way.
No, downtown Jacksonville is good. And Captain Roger mentioned, especially as it gets hotter, fishing around docks in the shade. Those big fish are smart, and they want a little relief from the heat too. So, a lot of dock fishing, and the bait is a excellent tip as well. You can watch the bait, and when you say bait, when he says bait, it's schools of smaller fish, schools of glass minnows, finger mullet, pogies, baby pogies, juvenile pogies get up in the river. That's where they kind of get big enough to go offshore, then they go offshore, because when they get offshore, the big predators get after them pretty good, so they better be a little bit bigger.
Daniel, must be my wife. I didn't hear a thing. No audio there on that one on YouTube. I'll have to figure that one out, why that happened, but we heard them loud and clear. Gunner Helmet of NorthFlorida.com, place to go. Armor Guard Exterior, one of our sponsors of Let's Go Fishing each and every week with Paul Dozier here on Thursday on the Brent and Austen Show. You mentioned, you said grouper season?
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to say it used to be open, and I'm not a big bottom fisherman, but it used to be open from May 1st until I want to say December 31st, and I think I saw that it's going to close around June 27th or something. The grouper, we talk about the red snapper issues. There's some theories out there that the red snapper eating the juvenile grouper. The red snapper just taking over the reefs. There's so many of them. But the grouper are making a comeback, and they've limited the season a little bit. But, that was a very nice one. It used to be, when I was a kid, you could catch grouper within 10 miles of the beach in the fall. When the water started cooling down, it was a pretty regular thing. And then something happened. Like there was some kind of red tide or I don't know if it was a red tide, but a bunch of them died off, and they're making a comeback. So that would be fantastic if you could get a great eating fish like that within 10 or 15 miles of the beach in the fall.
Well, here's another question for you, and this comes in. The first 2 weekends of June are a good time to try out fishing in Florida is what I hear. State's license-free weekends are coming up.
There you go.
So June 7th and 8th, free for saltwater fishing. June 14th and 15th, freshwater fishing. All the rules remain the same. So I think that's important to note, too, especially if you're a novice and you're trying to get into fishing.
Sure.
Right? Make sure you got those licenses.
Yep. You're fishing the old school, get a license as well. And, we've extended the boundaries. We mentioned that a couple weeks ago up in the St. Simons Island, Georgia. If you're going to fish in Georgia waters, you need to have a Georgia fishing license as well. If you get stopped and get a ticket for not having a Georgia fishing license, then you could have a problem. So,
all right. Hey, Rob, let's get a shout-out from our folks at the Palms. Every other week they have a night where they fish, and I think we got a shout-out from some of the guys yesterday.
Action Sports Jags, Palm Fish Camp, Wednesday Nighter. Be there. Brought to you by Armor Guard Exteriors.
Look, we got our guys working for us all over the place. This was the scene, though, yesterday on Wednesday evening because the weather wasn't so good.
Yeah.
But, hey, still got to go fishing.
Show goes on, buddy. The fish are already wet, right? Didn't rain at my house. If you want to have a Wednesday night tournament, come over there to River Oaks Plantation over there in Fruit Cove. It never rains at my house. I'm telling you, you can fish. I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious, but it can rain it dances around us every day. I'm telling you.
So check out that. They've got a Facebook page as well, and where you can do that every other Wednesday night. So like we kind of mentioned, a little bit of a fishing league. There's plenty of opportunity out there to whatever your schedule fits.
That's
really,
right.
Or how big or small you want to go.
There's some sort of tournament every weekend, whether it's an inshore and offshore tournament. We're going to start this weekend. There will be a king mackerel tournament every weekend. Through the end of July.
Wow. How about that?
The 1st of August, actually. The Mason's Voice King of the Beach is usually always the first Saturday in August, and it's another huge beach tournament that we kind of book in the kingfish season with the old school kingfish shootout and the Mason's Voice, two of the biggest tournaments, the two biggest kingfish tournaments here in town.
Awesome. Awesome. Paul Dozier with us. Let's Go Fishing, presented by Nimnick Buick GMC, Armor Guard Exterior as well. Rob, let's rifle through. I think we got a couple more pictures from Stephen Porter Jr. I mean, look, he sent some good pictures in now.
Yeah, he's in the meat. There's that dolphin, that mahi that we saw the picture of, and those are mangrove snappers.
Oh, the color does change a lot, huh?
Yeah, that's the same fish, I would imagine. Those are mangrove snappers, very nice mangrove snappers. And in the summertime, around the full moon, the mangrove snappers spawn, and a lot of times the guys will go at night and they just free line them on light tackle. And catch them, but they're good eating fish as well, and that's a heck of a catch there of mangoes. But that's gotten more and more popular over the years, doing that in the summertime, and you can catch them in the daytime, but the nighttime is on the full moon is when they really get going.
All right,
another one,
man,
same guy.
Yeah, this is all from the same folks.
They said taking the same picture of the same fish, maybe, or they had a heck of a day. One or the other.
Yeah, I know this might have been a little bit of a collection.
But you see the color on that fish, though.
Said down in St. Augustine, Team Craterfish.
Okay,
Craterfish.
Yep.
You heard of those guys?
Yeah, I do know those guys. They're good fishermen. They do very well. Fishing out of St. Augustine. That's another big grouper.
That's a big grouper, huh?
So
how big is that, you think?
That's about a 45 or 50 pound grouper.
He looks like he's laboring.
Yeah. So interesting. See how it's kind of got a black belly. They call them black bellies when they get to be big. And what happens is when they become black bellies, and I don't quote me on this, but they change sex in their older age. They go from female to male or male to female when they get that big, and that's when their bellies turn color.
Really?
Fun facts with Paul, I mean, so you catch a big grouper. They call them black bellies. It's a trophy fish. They're very, very hard to catch. If you don't have big, heavy tackle and you hook a fish like this, he's going to take you right down around the ledge or right in the rocks and cut you off.
Okay.
So you use about a 100-pound test and a big, heavy leader, and it's a man-on-man fight to catch a grouper like that. I'd say probably 90% of them get lost.
Wow. So smart fish?
Very smart, very strong. That's an old fish too. Those fish are old.
Wise.
Bottom fish, big bottom fish are slow growers. Mahi are fast growers. Big bottom fish are slow growers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you just now I have a lot of questions about what you just said in the last couple minutes, but I probably will save them for now.
Maybe I'll do some research. We can talk about it next week.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Definitely interesting. Always is interesting here with Paul Dozier. Once again, old school Kingfish Shootout. This is our last segment before the early entry expires, so make sure you get in on that, and you save $100 to get in. Still a very inexpensive price to get in for all the prizes that are potential. Expect a big turnout, though, right? Be a part of the big fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good turnout. Summertime's here. It's hot out there. It sounds like the bait's around, the fish are around. Hopefully we can try it this week and provide some pictures, some footage for you guys to see. Maybe we can review some pictures from our kids this weekend.
I like it. OldSchoolKingfish.com is the place to go to get all the information and be a part of it. And again, we'll be able to show that to you 2 o'clock starting on June 14th, which is a couple of Saturdays from now, right here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having us.
Appreciate you coming in. That's Paul Dozier. We come back. Austen Lane joins the show. A final hour to go until 1 o'clock here on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter, First Coast, a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter, First Coast, on your team.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed. Weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training, along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajacks.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajacks.org. Don't wait, apply today.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'm alone. Welcome back. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. There's been a shift change. Brent's off to get a colonoscopy. Apparently an emergency one because he just up and left, which I was not prepared for, but you know what? We'll power through for the last 50 minutes or so on the Brent and Austen show. Is that Austen Lane? I'm hoping that it is.
A colonoscopy.
Yeah, I mean, apparently an emergency one, bro. Just like, hey, I got to go do this. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll see you later. So he's gone on a way to get pictures of the inside of himself, I guess.
Awesome, man. I can't wait to be older like that, too.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say the same thing. So I guess it's me and you for the next...
being sarcastic.
I know. So I guess it's me and you for the next 50 minutes. How goes it?
It's going good, man. I can tell I'm a little delayed. Hopefully the audio's sounding okay. But it went good today, man. ended up getting some great sparring in with a bunch of guys who don't speak English, which is kind of the MO around the gym these days, but got some great work in, man. There's some killers in there to say the least, and I got better today, Casey, and that's kind of the goal, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the goal. I like to hear it that you got better today. I'm fascinated with the idea that you're not done. You might have more to do, but the idea that you already sparred with killers before noon is truly a wild thing to me. Like, you get up at 7 a.m. just ready to fight people is something that I can't really comprehend.
Yeah. I mean, basically get up at 7:30, get my breakfast smoothie in, kind of move around a little bit, get warmed up, and then we start sparring at 10 o'clock, and then we go from like 10 till like 11:15, 11:20. I'm gonna be honest, man, I enjoy that a lot better than like having to think about it all day, then go do it, Casey. You know, I'm sure you've heard the stories before, but when Jack Del Rio was my coach for my rookie year back in 2010, he had the great idea of having practice at 7 o'clock at night. And that was the worst thing ever, because literally you just sat around all day knowing practice was going to happen. I think you start at 7 or whatever, because obviously it was cooler, the sun was going down, but you don't get done till 9. You go back to the hotel around like 9:30, 10, and then you just lay in bed because you're wired. Like, you can't sleep. You just practiced, right? So you lay in bed till like, noon till like midnight, and then, all right, time to do it again the next day and have to think about practice at 7 or whatever time it was.
Yeah, that's foul. That is absolutely foul. So I guess morning is better than evening. We learned stuff here on the Brent and Austen show. We'll talk some NBA before we get out of here, because Brent's gone, so that's good. May even talk some hockey before we get out of here as well. I do want to bring something to your attention that we started the show with. Two things. One, you don't really need to comment on, but I just want to make sure you know that at 7:23 this morning, I believe was the time, Eric Armstead tweeted Brenton Strange is going to be a top 5 tight end. So I'm not sure what happened to him at 7 this morning, but he decided to get that news out into the open. So Eric Armstead believing heavily in Brenton Strange. And then one thing I definitely do want you to comment on, have you seen the Jalen Ramsey nonsense on Twitter?
So yeah, first of all, as far as the Brenton Strange thing is concerned, because I feel like we should address it, right? I mean, I think if you can get honestly, Casey, if you get a top 20 performance out of Brenton Strange, I think you're happy with that. Like, top 5 is a little aggressive for my liking, because like, let's be honest here. If Brenton Strange was a top 5 tight end in the National Football League, is that actually a good thing? And it's no disrespect to Brenton Strange, but if he's getting like the lion's share of the reps, well, then what is Brian Thomas Jr. doing? Then what is the run game doing? Then what is Travis Hunter doing? Like, I think if Brenton Strange is a top 5 tight end, Casey, that may not be the best thing for this team.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I said there's not enough football to go around, because when you look at the other top 5 tight ends in the league, in my opinion, like Travis Kelce, why has he been a top 5 tight end? They haven't picked a receiver, and the receivers that they do have haven't been that great. So Travis Kelce gets, outside of when they run the football, like 100% of the targets. George Kittle has managed. They've had other weapons there, but they've been injured. But still, George Kittle gets his. They've been able
back in the day in his prime.
Gronk,
when he was in New England.
Gronk. That was another receiver thing, though, for the most part. We talked about Brock Bowers last year. They had no receivers.
Trey McBride. Can't think of a lot of receivers. I mean, I guess you got Maserati Marv now, but
he wasn't Brian. He wasn't what Brian Thomas Jr. was. People thought that he was going to be, the greatest thing since sliced bread. He was just okay. So yeah, like I agree with you. There's not enough, in my opinion, if you're going to give 3 guys carries, which I think they're going to. If you're going to throw it to Travis Hunter, if you're going to throw it to Brian Thomas Jr. But me and Brent said this the other day. I can't remember if you were on or not, but I think Brenton Strange is probably in the area of like 600 yards and maybe 6 touchdowns. I feel like that would be a really good year for Brenton Strange.
That'd be great. Yeah. And I think we would take that, right? Because listen, we've been over this many times. There's a reason why Evan Ingram's gone now, right? And it had a lot more to do with the run game and his capabilities there. Brenton Strange is, probably a step ahead of Evan Ingram in terms of run blocking. Okay, great. So, you can be that every down tight end, and every once in a while, if a defense isn't taking you seriously, by all means throw the ball his way. But I have a hard time believing like defense is going to be in that meeting room thinking, okay, breaking down this Jaguars offense here, we got to stop Brenton Strange. Like Travis Hunter, whatever. Yeah, it's like Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, it was a splash in the pan. We got to stop Brenton Strange. Like, I have a hard time believing that's what the conversation is going to be like. But, if he can add, some receiving threat and be a legit tight end, more power to him. That's only going to help the Jaguars defense out. But I just question how many targets he's going to get per game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that fully. I know you're a Kyle Pitts truther.
Yes. I mean, Casey, who's called like it is a Kyle Pitts addict.
Addict. You do have a problem. I give you that.
I do.
If for some reason Kyle Pitts is gone, you looking at Brenton Strange in fantasy at all, potentially? Not early, but I'm just saying, like, is that on your radar?
Man, there's just too much the unknowns, Casey, honestly, for me to like be fully invested. Just because once again, there's going to be the ball going around to a lot of guys. So I would feel more comfortable in offenses where there wasn't a lot of threats. Now, maybe, I can get Brenton Strange in later rounds and then I can put together a trade deal for Kyle Pitts. But as far as like fantasy talk, it's hard. I mean, if I can get Brenton Strange, like in super late rounds, whatever, we're talking like the 8th or 9th round, then maybe you consider him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see him being a tight end one, like off the bat. Like I'm going to have to see more from him.
Agreed. I agree with that as well. Eric Armstead, though, very much a believer, which, you love to see in the locker room, I guess. Speaking of the locker room, do you want to add Jalen Ramsey to it, or you think it's fine the way it is? Because, listen, we talked about it a lot earlier, and I'll tell you what I thought. I think it makes a lot of sense. If Jalen Ramsey were to be available and the Jags could go and get a guy like that, he's been all over Twitter saying not necessarily that he's gone, but not necessarily saying that he's staying where he is. So obviously the Jags fans have went and run with that. Would you be interested in bringing old Jalen back? I heard his back is better and no longer injured, so I think that's a key part.
Good to hear.
Yeah,
good to hear. It's definitely cryptic tweet season coming from Jalen Ramsey. Man, Casey, and I get it. We don't like to be on the fence about things on this show, but I go back and forth with this because I think from just simply a talent standpoint, would he bolster this defense? Well, absolutely. Like, yeah, is he maybe not in his prime anymore? Maybe. But, like, you want to talk about him, Tyson Campbell, and then whoever you're going to put in that slot, and, you're going to probably rotate, Jerry Jones, you're going to rotate Travis Hunter. Like, that's a formidable defense right there. I like that a lot. What you have to question is it worth it bringing over a guy who, can be a little bit of a diva, who can be a little bit of a prima donna, especially with a brand new regime with a lot of new coaches who are on new spots. And that's the big thing. And I'm not sure if I would risk it with a first-year coach, with a first-year coordinator, and a team that's trying to, turn over a new leaf.
Does it matter to you at all that the first-year coordinator and the first-year GM have very upfront prior history with Jalen Ramsey? Obviously, Gladstone and the Rams, Campanelli and the Dolphins. Like, does that factor in for you at all? I know they're first time in their job, but
yeah, and that was kind of going to be like my next point, where obviously it wasn't in the capacity that they're in right now, but they do have experience with Jalen Ramsey. And to me, it's one of those things where if they do in fact bring in Jalen Ramsey and he's once again a Jacksonville Jaguar, it's almost like in Liam I trust, and in James Gladstone and in Campanelli I trust, because they know better than anybody, right? Like I can sit here and say, I don't know, like how would it be for the locker room? Campanelli knows, like James Gladstone would know. So if they truly do bring him in, it's going to be for the benefit of the team, I believe, right? And if they do bring him in, I don't think you're going to see a lot of just me, and causing, the locker room to split or whatever like that. But once again, you bring over Jalen Ramsey, you have Travis Hunter, who's going to play defensive back in some capacity. You got the dude from Dallas. So there are some pieces there, but yeah, I mean, Jalen Ramsey, if he can keep his head on his shoulders, makes your defense better. And that's a fact.
Yeah, and I think that's where I go to. And Brent took an approach of, well, you kind of want to know what you have with Jarian Jones, and that's fine. And, you've got some...
That's because Jarian Jones hasn't blocked Brent on Twitter yet, but go ahead.
That's fair. That is fair. Jalen still might have Brent blocked, unconfirmed. We'll have to ask him if he comes to town. But to me, and I'll ask you what I asked Brent, how many games right now do you think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win? You don't have to give me a full breakdown, just a rough estimate of a number.
This season?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, realistically, and listen, like, I want to get all the hype and everything too, but like, if I'm trying to put money down and I'm in Vegas, I'm going to say either 7 or 8.
Okay, 7 or 8. That's about where Brent's at.
Yeah.
Do you think Jalen Ramsey being on your team is worth a win and a half? Like, do you buy into if he was here, you win one more, maybe 1.5 more games?
I mean, you can make an argument for that, sure. Like, I think, he can still shut down a side of a field. I still think he can, for the most part, shut down a pretty skilled receiver. And obviously offenses, I think, have the game plan for that. So to answer your question, yeah, I think he could be beneficial in that area.
So if you're going if you think 7 or 8 currently constructed, Jalen Ramsey could put you at 8 to 9, maybe even 9.5. I feel like that's something you have to explore if he's available. I understand it's going to cost money, but this regime has decided if we don't want somebody here, I'm not worried about their dead money. And if we want somebody here, we're going to go get him like you did with Travis Hunter. I think it could make too much sense because the other part of this to me is you have a Jarian Jones, you have Travis Hunter who's going to play some defense and all of that. I get it. Yeah. But the part that always happens is Tyson Campbell always gets hurt. And like you can't plan for injury, but I feel like you kind of have to plan for Tyson Campbell's going to miss at least a game or two. And I said this to Brent, I'll say it to you. I like the idea of if that were to happen, you have Jalen Ramsey now in there as your corner one instead of Jarian Jones being your corner one and bringing Monteric Brown in or giving Travis Hunter more on defense. Like, I like the idea of if you have Jalen Ramsey, you feel good about what you've got after that. And if Tyson Campbell were to play a full season, you've got Jalen and Tyson, and I feel damn good about that.
No, I hear you. 2 things, though, Casey. First thing being, and I agree with you, like, can Jalen Ramsey, can you add one more win to the resume if he stays healthy? I think that could be a good argument. But if it goes wrong, it doesn't go wrong. It becomes a distraction. And it becomes a liability. And it becomes a liability on a paycheck that you probably spent a lot of money to get on your team, right? So there is that. The other part of it is you just invested draft capital, a lot of resources in getting a guy in Travis Hunter. Now, I understand that he's a wide receiver first. How about Trevor Lawrence? More power to you. But we've sat here on this show and said, well, you traded up. You gave away another first-round pick for what? A wide receiver? No, for a game changer, for a guy that we're supposed to, have never seen before in a wide receiver, and at some point a defensive back as well. So if you bring in Jalen Ramsey, then what is it saying about the draft capital that you gave up to get Travis Hunter? Are you just basically saying, you know what? We just want him as a wide receiver. We think he's going to be a generational Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones type, and that's why we gave up that much draft capital. Is he that? I mean, listen, he could be good, but I don't hear anybody saying Travis Hunter's the next Calvin Johnson. I don't hear anybody saying Travis Hunter's the next Julio Jones. The reason why Jaguars fans are excited is because he's playing offense with sprinkling on with a little defense. If you bring in Jalen Ramsey, then what does that look like?
I would say to that, I understand, but I also probably would say there's a benefit to if you do have Jalen and something were to happen, or I'm sorry, if you didn't have Jalen and something were to happen, there's going to be this feel and pressure, I believe, on Liam Cohen to play Travis Hunter at cornerback more than he had been.
Absolutely right.
And you don't. I feel like you don't want that,
especially with Tyson Campbell's injury history. You're not wrong, Casey. Like he's been out for some games now.
And I feel like that's just not a good place to be in because of all the things you just said, right? You gave up the draft capital. You did this. He's supposed to play both ways. Why isn't he in there? And granted, Liam Cohen, I feel like could handle that. But still, it's a conversation that would be had because of who Travis Hunter is supposed to be. That way, if you have a Jalen Ramsey, you're not forced to make a move like that. And I kind of like the idea of Travis Hunter in a corner room, if you will, with Jalen Ramsey and Tyson Campbell, because Tyson Campbell's very good and doesn't say much when he plays, and Jalen Ramsey has been very good and says a whole lot. So the idea of what he could learn from a Jalen Ramsey, not only playing DB, but playing wide receiver, and Jalen being like, well, this is what I would try to do to you as a DB playing you at receiver, and then Travis Hunter can maybe even learn off of that. So, like, there's not a lot of reasons why I don't like it. I understand everything that you said where it could potentially be a problem distraction-wise, but I like it a lot. I really do.
Interesting comment in the chat, Ryan. I can't really make it out because
Ryan Williams,
cell phone here. But what if Jalen played safety? Ryan Williams. What if Jalen Ramsey played safety? And I think it merits consideration. Maybe he would be up for that. And I think he's got the instincts for it, Casey, but every once in a while, and obviously you see him playing a 3 safety more than a strong safety. Like, you don't see him in the box coming downhill, delivering punishment.
Right.
But you can see him playing center field a little bit and you know, almost like a la Ed Reed. You think of one of the best center fielders of all time. Ed Reed definitely comes to mind. But can you see him playing that? Because every once in a while you got to come up and hit somebody. And Jalen's got a very complete game as a cornerback. But does he have that mentality, you think, to play a safety? It's a different mentality.
For sure. I think it could be done. I don't think it's a hurdle or a hindrance, whatever you want to say. I don't know right away that it's necessary, right? I think he can still play corner. But if you're talking about a multi-year thing and safety becomes in the conversation, I don't hate him in like a center field role because he, as Brent said earlier, when he came in to the NFL, the one question was like the ball skill. Well, he has that now. So I like the idea of him playing that role. And I don't know, the part that I wouldn't know here would be the mentality of being a number one corner, like I'm going to make a play, I'm going to do this, then shifting to that center field role where it's more like just don't screw up, if you will. Right? Don't let them make the big play.
Yeah.
Even though as a number one corner, like part of it is like they may make the big play here, but I'm also going to try to make the big play. I'm not sure
for the biscuit. Yeah.
I'm not sure if his mindset fits in like a last line of defense type of role. It might, but like that would be my concern there.
No, absolutely. And I think, you know, and we'll see what this defense looks like going forward with Campanelli, but you know, like in Green Bay when he was there, like Green Bay, you know, like, yeah, you had a strong safety and a free safety, but like it was really interchangeable. Like they ran a lot of different looks. Like sometimes, you know, the center fielder comes down a little bit. Sometimes strong safety's in the box. Like they do a lot of things to keep offenses guessing. And you know, I think if Jalen Ramsey was to play that role, like I can just see him playing that center fielder and that's about it. Like I don't want him coming up and trying to make tackles and everything because while he's athletic, he's got the arms, he can do that. I don't think that's his game. Like I think his game is locking up somebody, getting in their face, trying to throw them off their game and doing his thing. So, you know, it does make sense because you want to get the best players on the field at the same time, and him playing safety could make some sense. But from a longevity standpoint, is it what he's best suited for? I think that's debatable.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating conversation, and I said this earlier to Brent. Like, I love and hate people, right? But I love
that's gonna be like the autobiography of Casey Kurtz. I love and I hate people.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I feel. But like it makes me laugh where when he left, boy, people did not like Jalen Ramsey, and that's putting it nicely. Like it was full on venom for Guy. And listen, did it end well? No, It did not. And then he leaves, and he goes to wins the Super Bowl and goes to the Dolphins and does all this other stuff. And now there's like a slight sniff that he may come back. And it's like a total flip. Like I'm right here with you. I'm telling you I would like it too. I never said terrible things about him on Twitter like some of y'all did, right? But I just think it's funny that I guess time really does heal all wounds, because I feel like if it was announced in the next minute that Jalen Ramsey was coming back, I feel like it would be a mostly positive reception from fans.
It would be, yeah. Yeah, Casey, you're right. I mean, time does heal most wounds. I still have some festering sores that I'm not over yet, professionally, but it is what it is. But
I'm right there with you.
Hey, right? But here's the thing with the Jaguars fan base and why I think you're right, but also and I don't want to say listen, no one deserves hate, right? Like no one, it's,
yep.
Say what you want about it, but he essentially quit on this team.
He did.
Right. And I think the cool thing about sports a lot is people want to put these, athletes on such a big pedestal, and put them as almost like a holier than thou. But then sometimes we want to bring them back down to the human element, which I'm all for, right? Where, athletes feel just like anybody else working a 9-to-5 job does. So when you have fans who, I think football and paying that season ticket or whatever, it's an escape for a lot of people, and they sacrifice to get those tickets to go watch those games. And when you have a guy in Jalen Ramsey, who by all accord was healthy, faked a back injury and said, you know what? I just don't feel like playing. Now, his reasons are his reasons, right? Whether it was the whole Tom Coughlin thing, whether it was the Doug Marrone, a combination of it, he felt disrespected, whatever the case may be. The fan base doesn't care about that. The fan base pays the ticket to go watch you do anything, and you didn't want to play. So I get this taste, I get some of the hate, I get some of the dislike. That to me is all justified, Casey. And I always say this about fans, and whether it's UFC or football, man. Fans say some pretty messed up things sometimes to players, but they pay the ticket. That's when you put your hard-earned dollars on the line and you buy that ticket, that almost goes to say hey, I have an opinion and my opinion is going to be heard. Now, whether that opinion is right, so be it. But you have the right to have the opinion. So I get that people dislike Jalen Ramsey a lot for what he did. I disliked it. I thought it was a bad look.
Agreed.
And in the end, and this is why it left a lot of a bad taste in people's mouths, because it felt like the bad guy won. Because he faked the injury. He doesn't play. He goes to Los Angeles. We don't get anything really in return. Because we got C.J. Henderson and
I think technically ETN.
Chason, right?
Or was it Chason or was it ETN?
Okay.
I forget.
Maybe it was ETN, whatever the case may be. But
the point is you didn't do great.
Didn't do great. And then you see this dude win a Super Bowl. The bad guy won.
Yeah.
That's not how it's supposed to go, right? Mm-hmm. So then whatever. He does that, goes to Miami, and now, like you said, Casey, time heals all wounds. But I think people can let bygones be bygones, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is winning football games. And it's the same reason why people were mad when Jalen wasn't playing, because it gave you a worse chance to win a football game. If you bring Jalen Ramsey back now, despite, what happened in the past, despite maybe being a little bit of a prima donna, despite the risk that you're taking and bringing him back to a locker room that is young, that has a lot of young coaching staff, you look at it and say, well, does he give us a better chance to win? Yes or no? And the answer, as long as he's on the field, is unequivocally yes. So fans are going to be on board for it.
Yeah. No, I think it's well said. Z. Fortner says, feels like an apology to the fans would go a long way if he were to come back here. It is an interesting it's an interesting dynamic, because I feel like you ain't going to get that. But here's the thing, though, Austen, right? You don't do a press conference for every player that you acquire, right? I get that. He probably just shows up and plays football. Eventually he'll do a media scrum. He'll be like, hey, Brent, I still hate you. And then, whatever. But it would be It would be interesting the first time that Jalen talked, whether they did it in a press conference setting or whether they did it in like a scrum, because, I mean, you gotta ask, right? Like, there's definitely there's stuff there that I feel like you kind of need to unpack. Like, is it weird to be here? Why did you want to come? Like, there's so much stuff there that, like, that's why I almost think like a press conference would be so odd, but also so appropriate, because you would give them the opportunity to be like, you know what happened, but I'm here, and if you're cool with it, I'm cool with it, and we move. Like, it might just be that simple.
Yeah. It could be that simple. And listen, I get that you're thinking of it from the optic perspective of like the outside. Here's what I'm thinking of, Casey. How many teammates, when Jalen Ramsey left the first time, are still on this Jaguars roster?
Good point.
I honestly don't know.
Probably Josh
Hines for sure. Hines Allen was like Hamilton. I mean, Trevor was Trevor.
No, Trevor wasn't.
No,
Hamilton maybe. No,
I can't remember. I mean,
not many, because like Shatley's gone now, so like very few, if any.
Not many. And I think Josh Hines Allen was here. Yeah, he would have been a rookie.
I think he would definitely have had to have been here. I think Josh would be probably one of the only ones.
Okay, so, we don't have the numbers in front of us. Let's assume maybe it's Josh and one other guy that we're maybe missing. But the point is that you have a captain in Josh Hines Allen. Like, how does he feel about it? Right? Because you paid that guy a lot of money, right? And he's one of the faces of your franchise. I want to know how Josh Hines Allen would feel about Jalen Ramsey coming back. Because I'm going to be honest, and listen, I don't want to speak for Josh Hines Allen of how the situation played out when Jalen Ramsey left. I'm just saying from my perspective, if I was Josh Hines Allen, I would have been pissed. Like, I would have been pissed if my teammate who's held in high regard, who's one of the, supposed to be a leader, who's supposed to be one of the best players in the league, chose to say, you know what, I'm not going to play. I'm going to fake this back injury. And then I watch you go to LA and do your thing over there. Oh, I feel a certain type of way about that for sure, Casey. So, we can say, the fans would forgive and the fans want to win and more power to you, but we got to make sure that the locker room's on board with this as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good call. Z. Fortner saying Dewey, so Andrew Ringard has been here since 2019, so that would make sense. But again, somebody else who has been a captain, not sure what that'll look like this year, special teams wise. So yeah, no, I think that's a good call, because again, we said time heals all wounds, but does it? Okay, you were in a locker room. If they tried to bring somebody back that like did quit on you, like that's real. Do you need to hear something from them? Do you need to see something, or are you just like, welcome back? Like, how does that work?
No, it's, and once again, this is just from my perspective. I don't want to speak on behalf of Dewey. I don't want to speak on behalf of Josh Hines Allen. But if it was me, I'm going to need to have a conversation before, like, you sign them. Like, I'm going to need to have a phone call or a sit down and just hash some things out. Because here's the thing, Casey, about players in the league. Like, I saw this a lot when players wanted to hold out, right? When they wanted to hold out, didn't want to show up for training camp and everything. Like, you got that because it's a business, right? So it's almost like, hey, I want to be with my teammates, but I got to do what's best for myself in the business aspect because I'm worth more money. So we always understood that. The whole back injury thing, I think, would have been harder to comprehend, at least from me, if I was on that team. So I would need to at least sit down and hash things out. So, like, if I'm James Gladstone, if I'm Liam Cohen, what I would do is I would go to those guys, those leaders, those Josh Hines Allens, and I'd be like, hey, might be bringing Jalen Ramsey in. How do you feel about it? Would you like to talk to him before, kind of get a vibe? Like, that's what I would do, because I think you owe that to your leaders. I think you owe that to the people that you're investing a lot of money in. And I think you owe it to people who may still have a little bad blood of how things shook out, previous years.
Do you think is that like a common thing, do you think, in the league? Like, I understand this is a very one-off situation if they were to bring Jalen back, like, because he had been here. But is that something that other teams do? Because that feels like something the Jags in the past would not do. Be like, hey, let's go do right by the team. Like, do you think that's something that happens in, like, Pittsburgh if they were going to bring
Antonio Brown back? Do they go to TJ Watt and they're like, hey, are you sure?
Casey, honestly, like, and once again, I don't want to speak for any other team, but I have to believe that's how it goes down. Because even when like Antonio Brown left, even like when Le'Veon Bell left, like I don't think this was just, you know, a GM or an owner saying we don't want him. Like I think there was like a leadership council that said, yeah, like this guy's detrimental to our team. I think even like maybe, I don't know, maybe the George Pickens thing, because and I can't remember how it all went down, Casey, when George Pickens, who, you know, by all regards could be a great wide receiver, when he was traded away, did you see a lot of blowback from his teammates in Pittsburgh? Like, did you see TJ Watt going on Twitter like with a, you know, a cryptic tweet or anything? Now, maybe there was. I don't remember anything.
I don't either. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So I think that goes to show you that maybe they did, you know, at least confide in some of the players who, you know, who are obviously vested in that team.
It's interesting that you bring that situation up because there's I don't want to name names, but there's a pitcher on the Jumbo Shrimp who's a Steelers fan, and I was talking to him random. This is random, I know, but because I asked him about the George Pickens thing, and his response was a curse word and then him, and I was like, okay, so that's the Steelers fan vibe of the situation. I know it's just one and there's a billion, but like
yeah.
But I think that's if you would have went and asked Jags fans on that Thursday night that Jalen didn't play, he just walked around and stood on the bench, like you probably would have got a lot of those same answers. And now maybe it's like, yeah, come back. I don't know. It just fans. It's wild.
Yeah, and kind of going back to that whole, you know, should you consult your players or not? This is a prime example that I actually went through that just came to my head. It would have been 2014. I was in Chicago, and that was when Martellus Bennett, tight end, was one of pretty high regarded tight end. It was supposed to be a great team. You still had Jay Cutler, you had Alshon Jeffrey, you had Brandon Marshall, you had a great offense. You had Matt Forte still doing his thing. You had Lance Briggs on defense, Jared Allen. Like you had a lot of pieces that was supposed to take you far, you know, in that season. And this whole fight went down between Martellus Bennett and the rookie Kyle Fuller. And basically what happened is that Martellus Bennett felt this certain type of way. Kyle Fuller maybe like after the whistle, cheap shot at him, or just kind of hit him after the whistle. Martellus Bennett be Martellus Bennett. Bad dude. Grabs Kyle Fuller by the neck, body slams him, and it's all in front of the cameras. Like ESPN was there, and it's a big ordeal. Everyone's talking about it. Now, in the locker room, it was a civil war, Casey, because you had the offense who had Martellus Bennett's back, right? He's a veteran leader. He's been through a lot. Like, you trust him. If you're going down a dark alley, that's the guy you want, going with you.
For sure.
And on the other side, you had, younger players, I felt like, who thought, well, this guy's trying to kill, Kyle Fuller. Like, that's not right. This guy's a rookie. He's still learning his ways. And this is a first-round pick that you invested in. Like, you can't be hurting. You can't be slamming this dude down on the ground. So there is another side that was on Team Kyle Fuller. And it was a civil war. The problem was the fact that none of the coaches came up to us and asked our opinions about it or tried to hash it out. All that happened was next day, Martellus Bennett wasn't at practice. And all of a sudden it gets later announced that he's, was essentially banned from training camp. And he was done from training camp. And we would see him week 1. No consultation. And once again, dude, I'm just trying to make a roster, right?
Sure.
But no consultations with like Jay Cutler, no consultation with anybody. He was just gone. Didn't consult with anybody in that locker room. And in doing that, I feel like, and listen, I have a lot of respect for Mark Chessman, the coach. I know a lot of guys didn't like him. I actually liked him. But he does that, and that was the day I feel like that he lost the locker room. And if you remember how that season went, I think they won, 3 or 4 games? It wasn't a good year when it should have been because they had all the talent in the world. The issue is that you let Martellus Bennett sit out of training camp with no rhyme or reason or explanation, and now all of a sudden you had players questioning your leadership. That's why I think, coming full circle, why if you do bring Jalen Ramsey in, you at least got to consult with the guys that have some history with him.
That's pretty wild. That's That's an interesting story. Yeah, it puts a lot into perspective. And by the way, this last comment on this, I think, and not to sound too much like Brent here, but James Gladstone knows him. I get that. Their coaching staff knows Jalen Ramsey, all of that. But I feel like a big part of that would be Tony Boselli going, hey, just so you guys understand this situation, this is what this is. This is not just going to get a talented football player. There's a lot more in this city than just let's bring this guy in and win games, which is what it should be in any other city. But here, you got to realize there's a little bit of stuff here as well. And, maybe Boselli's doing that right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, once again, we want to say, Campanelli, Gladstone, they've had history. But yeah, I think, this is the cool thing about having Tony Boselli now. He's almost like the Jaguars culture liaison, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, we have an idea of what this is supposed to look like. We have an idea of the type of players we want. And Tony Boselli is kind of like the bouncer at that club where it's like, all right, dude, let's give you a little pat down. Okay, yeah, come on in. Welcome to the Jaguars culture. You know what? Nope. Can't be wearing tall tees in the club. We'll see you later. That's what I think that Tony Boselli, I mean, he's doing a lot of things, but that's one of the most beneficial things that he's doing right now.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's a good description. Tony Boselli is the bouncer of the.
No Crocs in the club, Casey. No Crocs in the club.
No. What about Hey Dudes? Can we get in with some Hey Dudes or what?
All right, yeah, I'll allow it.
I like it. All right, stay where you are. Don't leave me.
Yeah.
We got to go to break.
Yep.
Brent said, "Hey, you got to hit some breaks." I said, "I can't confirm or deny if that's going to happen, but we're going to do it. We're going to hit a break here. When we come back, we're going to do it. We're going to talk NBA against all odds, barring some unbelievable breaking news in the break. We're going to talk NBA on the Brent and Austen show. It's revolutionary. It's groundbreaking, but we're going to try it when we come back on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good, and the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Kinetico reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jags PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
It's been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jags PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Do they still say that? Is that still the slogan for recycling?
Good call. Yeah.
How about that?
That was like the commandments when I was in grade school.
Oh, I'll tell you what. They were all over that reduce, reuse, recycle.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, and stop, drop, and roll, man. Like you do those 2 things, Casey,
yep,
and you're gonna be just fine in life.
That's right. Stop, drop, and roll is a good one. I have yet to be on fire, but if I ever am,
stop, drop, and roll is a great one.
I'm ready. If something ever comes up fire related, hopefully it does not. Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Brent and Austen show. Brent off for colonoscopy. Austen in South Florida, training for unspecific things, but we'll talk about it, I'm assuming, some point at a later date. I'm Casey Kurtz. We have about 5 or 6 minutes left or so. I was on Twitter making sure there was no breaking news. All I saw was Charlotte Flair confirming that she is not vintage. So it sounds like we are right online to talk NBA for the last couple of minutes of the show.
Buckle your seatbelts.
So Minnesota quit, right? Like that's the consensus.
Yeah,
what happened there?
Yeah. Just outgunned, outmanned. I think it's funny, man, because I've been seeing this going around a lot, Casey. Like, have we anointed Anthony Edwards too soon? Right? Because he's kind of got that brashness. He has that attitude. He's got that polarizing game. But, there's been moments where you want to call him elite and the elite guy doesn't show up.
That's real. I mean, that is real. Listen, he's extremely talented. He's been very good. But yeah, there are times when he doesn't show up, and he's very quick to tell you when he does show up, which I have no problem with. But
it's entertaining. It's fun to watch.
I feel like you can't have moments like this happen because not just last night, which was bad, terrible actually. They didn't really have a series here. Like, they won a game, sure, but like, did you ever feel after game 2 that they were going to do anything in this series? Like, I didn't.
Not even close. And this is kind of a testament to what I feel like the plan was this last season for the Timberwolves, right? Because they take on Dallas in the conference finals, right? And that game kind of goes to the limit, right? Both teams, it was a slugfest back and forth, and that was kind of the Luka Doncic coming out party or whatever. And for his troubles, he got traded, but it was like the Doncic coming out party.
True.
But then I feel like you saw a Timberwolves team that said, you know what? Like, yeah, we got Karl Anthony Towns, all-star and everything, but this is Anthony Edwards' team. Like, he's the future. So let's go ahead and trade everything else around, and let's put up maybe some more role players like, DiVincenzo and everybody around him, and let's let Ant lead this team. And, I get it. Like, you go to the conference finals, so it wasn't like you had a bad season per se, but a lot like, I talked about the Knicks yesterday where it was like, were they a better team without Cat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, were the Timberwolves a better team if they would have kept Cat? And I think that's a debate for both sides. It's funny, like, if that Cat trade never happens and Cat doesn't go to the Knicks, I think we can sit here and say the Knicks may have been a better team and the Timberwolves may have been a better team.
No, I think that's definitely real. And the Timberwolves found out they need somebody else that can score the basketball, which they don't have necessarily. That guy DiVincenzo did at times, and I like what he brings, but he's a sixth man. That's fine. But more times than not, it felt like they were looking at him to try to score in those moments where they needed, points and threes. And like, that's just not going to work for the most part. Can the Knicks keep this thing alive tonight, or are we going to know the finals matchup by the time we get here tomorrow?
I mean, maybe they can win one more game, man, but they just look like they're kind of out of gas, Casey. Like, playing in Madison Square is going to help them out a little bit, give them a bump, but they got to slow things down. Like, and I get it. There's so much ego in basketball, right? Where you feel like you can run with anybody. You're professional. You can't get into a track meet with the Indiana Pacers. You simply can't. And that's what they've been trying to do the past couple of games, and it's absolutely backfired. So they may have one more win in them, Casey, but I just think that the Pacers are too quick. They're too sound, and they're just a complete team right now. And we have Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton doing their thing. It's hard to keep up. I want to ask you this real quick too. Talking about the Thunder, closing out the series and everything. SGA, great game. MVP. Is he the and I mean this with all due respect to our neighbors of the North, because he is Canadian. Is he the most boring MVP that you can remember?
Yeah, he just kind of does it, huh? Well, here's the thing. Joker's pretty boring.
Joker's boring, but like, you get it because like every play goes through him. Like, he's a walking triple-double for a reason, right? Like, either he's going to have this crazy pass that's going to, score 2, or he's going to take the game in his own hands and pull up and score. Like, you look at Joker style, it's just like, he gets to the line a lot, which is fine. Like, James Harden did that back in the day, and he became MVP. So there's that. But like, I feel like, well, at least with James Harden, Casey, like, he can pull up from 30, 40 feet and sink it. Like, right. That's not SGA's game. SGA is gonna like try to drive and hit like these mid-range jumpers, and aesthetically, it's not that like pleasing to the eye. And then you can say, well, Luka kind of does the same thing, which he does. But then I feel like he gets kind of that European bump a little bit, where it's like, if you're European, and I don't want this to be like a big like race thing, but like, I feel like if you're European, if you're Luka, if you're Giannis, like, you get a European bump. Once again, don't want to make it about this, but I feel like if you're Canadian, no one really cares.
I mean, there's a little bit of that. Listen, I'm not arguing that. There's a little bit of that, but I'll tell you this: SGA is damn good. Bro is real good.
No, Casey, listen, I'm not mad that he won the MVP. I just think like his game, and once again, look at the Thunder are going to the finals. So yeah, I think the right guy won the MVP. He took him there. I'm not like hating on his style. I'm just saying, is he the most boring MVP that we've had? And I think you can say that he is.
No, listen. You very much might be onto something, but it's fun to watch him play. 15 seconds. We got to go. Did you see the Florida Panthers one? I hate that. Hate it. Not happy at all, Austen.
I like it, man. Like, listen, I understand they're the front runners, Casey, but I like the way they play hockey. I'm sorry,
No!
man. I do. They're
No!
gritty, they're tough. I like the way they play hockey.
Rob, end the show. No, the show is over. We got to go. No